But mine was I grew a lump in the side of my throat about the fourth year after I got exposed, and it was the size of an acorn.
Jeez.
With the little brown hat on top. I mean, and I got to the point where I couldn't swallow or talk or anything anymore. I had to go in.
Awful
And they
time.
said, not if, but when did you get exposed to a great deal of radiation? And I knew that it was that rainstorm because I remember coming in from the house and 20 minutes later being on fire. And I fortunately went in and took a really long hot shower. But for 4 years after that, every time I put hot water on the top of my head or any of those areas of skin that were affected, my shoulders and my kneecaps and my back, my lower back had rashes all the time because I bent over to pick up my lawn furniture
Right.
in that storm, and I got rained on everywhere I bent over. My cheeks were kept rashing up on my upper cheeks right where my glasses sit because the rainwater hit my glasses and they went on my cheeks.
Right. We had a personal little private group, Christopher, at that time, and we were with Sam through that whole thing. Jillian will remember all of that too.
Oh, I was a zombie for 4 years.
It was hard.
Yeah, I'd walk to the end of the yard and I'd be so tired I had to turn around and go back in.
Yeah.
I'm better now, and then and then the C virus got us,
Thank you, Jesus.
and then I ended up developing asthma from that.
Wow. Oh, look who's here, everybody.
joking,
Awesome.
Who's here?
This is Jesus, and actually, I just now saw him sitting down there in the green room.
Oh, great.
Let's
let
get
him
him
talk
in
for
here
a while.
with us. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey.
There's the
Oh,
guy.
Get on up here.
Hey.
Get on up here. Get on up here.
Hi,
Hiya.
guys. How y'all doing?
Hello, Jesus.
Good to see you.
I see you guys are kind of winding down, but God, guys, I'm just so tired of these
Oh,
days.
man. Too
I
much
know.
turkey this
I
week
just
or what?
woke up and I'm like, holy crap, it's Saturday again.
Hey, but I didn't even know it was Saturday, and I went
You know
swanning off.
It felt like it was just the other day. I remember Rebecca saying last week, and then it'll be Saturday in 2 days. So that's what it feels like.
I literally didn't. I think I said the word Saturday to myself when I was waking up and doing my thing, and then my friend phoned and she said, "Do you want to do this or that?" And I said, "No, I would." And I thought, "There's a reason why I thought maybe I wouldn't." And then it, like, oh my word! I thought,
But did you have fun this afternoon with your friend Jillian?
oh, but it was so good. We went to
Good.
choir.
Then,
I thought, how did I do that? But
Did
it's
you-
like
did you get
something's
your-
happening with time.
Did you get your
I feel
hair
like something
done,
is happening with time.
You're
And
getting
other
old,
people have
buddy.
mentioned it as well. Like, why is this year going so fast?
No,
Oh, it's
yeah,
great.
we're done. We're done
Oh,
pretty much.
It's flying.
Did
What
you-
year? It's nearly finished. I mean, it's almost my birthday again. I'm like, oh no,
Mm.
no,
Yeah, we don't like birthdays anymore. Let's,
no, 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 no.
let's
Oh, I
slow
don't.
those down.
Mm-mm-mm.
Look,
So
I
how was your everybody's Thanksgiving, guys? Everybody
Awesome.
Good. How was
Your
your
picture looked cute, man. He says, like you guys had a bit of a.
get together?
Yeah,
Only
my
25 days.
dad came. He surprised us. He flew in from El Paso. And,
awesome.
Yeah, you said it was your dada.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, so it was nice to see him.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
that's
Awesome.
great.
Fun. We didn't cook. We all decided we just wanted to go out and have a steak dinner.
Yes.
So,
Way
Nice.
to go.
All
Way
eat
to
at
go.
the same time. All eat at the same time, and all.
then everybody went to go watch Moana 2 after that, but I passed
Aw.
on that and I came home with my dad and we just talked, just BS there for a while until
That's
it fell
great.
asleep. But it was fun. It was a fun day.
Good.
Oh.
Good.
And thank you for accepting my friend request on.
For a moment I was like, I should wait and see if this is really him because you
Yeah,
had
like is somebody shitting me or what?
Right.
Yeah, you
What
had
did you tell
you-
me
you-
yesterday or something
well,
like that?
Sam, you've had the same account for so long. I couldn't imagine you changing it. I was like,
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on. But just before that, I think Maria had messaged me and said that something was going on with Rebecca's account.
Oh,
So I think she was kind of maybe had it mistaken or something. But yeah.
No,
I
what she's
think
trying
too,
to
we
tell
had
us
a-
was about the settings and stuff, and how we
Yeah,
have to
that,
protect
and then a
ourselves.
little after she mentioned that
Hmm.
that Rebecca's account or something,
Yeah, she kept saying to me,
Well-
"Try and get hold of them. See if you can get hold of them." And this was
Yeah.
like
And now my
Tuesday
new
or
personal
Wednesday or
page-
something.
My new
What
personal
happened, Sam?
page is in Facebook jail now. It worked for about an hour, and it's obviously my name is flagged with Facebook. They came after this. They haven't given me any notices or warning, but my new persona, my new Samuel Hoffman Facebook page with new pictures, it's just me, and I barely did anything on it. They have now blocked me from commenting, liking. This is the first time I couldn't like anything, commenting,
So
liking,
weird.
or posting. So I can go there, but I can't do anything.
Yeah, you can see, you can watch stuff, but you can't.
I can
Thank you,
myself,
Egg.
but I can't.
You know, I saw, I hadn't seen trolls in some time. They've been a little quiet, but recently I had one.
Must have been cooking up their mojo.
I've had one that followed me, got at least 5 different groups, and he was just commenting on my stuff and commenting stupid thing, and I kept, I blocked him, and then he just, I knew he kind of popped up with a different name, and I had a feeling it was him, because he, by the way he was speaking, it just sounded like the same person. But I just kind of gave up, and I was like, whatever, run it all you want, and
Right.
kind of just let it go, because you spend too much time and energy on these people. You just kind of
It's
annoy
just the
yourself.
season.
Yeah.
This is where the
Right.
Grinches start coming out, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
miserable, so they want you to share that. That's their Christmas
Yes, they
gift
want
to
you to,
And they're not really there to reason with you either. Like I could have a discussion,
matter.
go back and forth with somebody who disagrees. I'm fine with that as long as it's done so respectfully.
right.
But there's certain people that aren't really there to
Right. They don't want facts.
debate. They're not there to respectfully disagree. Which I'm okay with. You don't have to agree with me, but we can talk about it.
Right. It's supposed to be a healthy discussion, not
Yeah.
what type of crazy do you subscribe
Yeah,
to?
yeah, exactly.
You
So
know?
I don't really waste my time with people like that anymore.
Don't feed the trolls.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did this week.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, I know.
It's really tempting. It's really tempting sometimes. You just want to let them have
I do. I haven't gotten to the point where I do enjoy playing with trolls.
Yeah. I mean,
It
when
can be fun.
when this guy told me that the electric universe was debunked in the 1950s, you're spreading lies. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Bye.
Yeah.
I was gonna
And
say
then,
thank you to
my
Egg.
favorite comeback is,
Yes.
and I always say
Yeah.
this to everybody, according to whom?
Right. Right. And then it's like I had
then
another
you
guy
hear
tell me
crickets.
space isn't real. And
Oh,
then,
I know the firmament, man. Yeah.
Right, but and then he's also talking about the sun, the fake sun. And I'm like, well,
Yeah. Right.
if
Right.
space isn't real, then how is there a fake sun up there? And
Well, because that
That
we're in a
was it,
Dyson sphere
it's
and
like-
we're being moved on a holographic
yes,
holodeck, just like in Star Trek, to another planet.
Well, and then how would you explain our winter orbit tilt on a flat plane? They never talk about that.
plane. I don't know. Does it tilt?
I outside the window adjust the thermostat on the AC.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not laughing at that. If people
The firmament, the flat Earth, the Dyson sphere, the holodeck, the sun sim, all
Yeah,
of
that
those
was-
are just.
There's so many. We got like a big long flip out
Yeah,
chart.
but the sun simulator kind of died down. I don't see a whole lot
Oh,
of
thank
people.
God.
I mean,
Not much.
I come across people, but I mean, it was really big for a while, and then it kind of just went away. Now you
Oh,
just
but
have a few people here and there that talk.
Well, I would
about
always ask them why we needed one.
yeah.
it. Exactly.
Christopher had a post that mentioned that, and what did the guy say, Christopher? about the Sam. There is no space.
Yeah, that's the one he
Remember
was
that?
talking about. He said there's no space and
No space.
the
But
sun
then
isn't
sends me
real.
later, and Chris
And
founded
then-
them.
oh
Well,
god.
then
Well,
why?
you guys remember the joke? The blonde newbie Skywatcher tells her other semi-learned Skywatcher
Mhm.
friend, "Oh, by the way, they're going to go and they're sending a space mission to land on the sun." And the other Skywatcher, who kind of knows things, says, "Well,
Oh,
how are
it's
they
too
planning
hot.
on doing
What?
that?" And she says, "Oh, it's easy. They're going at night."
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
There was
Oh,
an actual
God.
video that they were interviewing people on the street, Chris.
Yeah, that's great.
And the guy said something about doing that, and the girl said, "Oh, well, they're just going to go at nighttime, when they turn the sun off." And she was dead serious.
Well,
They are-
that's,
they are
here's the
crazy.
thing. Here's the thing, Carol, is that that's kind of what we're working with these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that's the level of education that we're working with sometimes, and I gotta remind myself sometimes that you have to start really small when it comes to this topic.
See, now
A lot
you
of
guys
people
know
barely
where
know.
I am.
A lot of people barely know what a
Came out of the
series-
science textbook in grade 1 or something.
Yeah,
No, I
and
always say-
most people I know don't know the difference, don't know where north is.
Oh,
Right.
And that's you
Yeah.
would think that's basic knowledge, but
Wow.
the truth is that very few people concern themselves with whatever happens
Right.
beyond our peripheral
Beyond
vision.
here.
From here up,
Mhm.
everybody seems to ignore everything, and
Right.
it's. Looking at the sky is for crazy people. Remember, it's.
Thank you,
That-
American educational system.
Tinfoilers. It's for the tinfoilers.
How
Yeah,
many times did you guys see me posting, "Here, I'll give you the housewife version"? And they
There you
get it.
yeah.
It's like,
Oh.
No, we have to remind ourselves, guys, that even though most of us here I've always had an affinity for the sky and space and stuff.
yeah,
A lot of people don't at all.
it's like going to
That's
school.
just strange.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
strange.
It's
Like
like a
starting
foreign.
kindergarten.
It's like
How
a
can-
foreign language to some people.
Absolutely.
Somehow, I don't know how they thought they were all going to learn to read,
And when I started
even
doing
though
this,
they have the keyboard phonies, or they all
Right.
need to learn what the ABC
when I started
looks
doing
like.
this, when I wrote my paper when I was like 17, I thought everybody knew. I
Oh,
thought everybody, special. I
Uh-oh.
don't know any more than anyone else does. And I made a really naive assumption that everyone knew this.
Yeah.
And, hysterically as I did, because I figured it was accepted.
He's talking about his paper, and he's
Yeah.
cut out.
Even my chemistry,
Yeah.
You're cut out.
you chopped
Sam.
out. Would you say that again, please?
You're,
Oh, yeah,
You're
it was me
getting
chopping
chopped
out.
out,
Oh, I was
Sam.
answering.
yeah,
You're
you're
a
doing the
robot.
I was
robot.
talking about my paper.
Yes,
Yep.
First time tonight, I'm talking about
Yep.
my paper, and they're chopping me
It-
out.
immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, to round it out, I thought everybody knew this stuff.
Yeah. Well.
I really did.
Not
Now you
all
know
the
better.
everybody's. Not all the everybody's.
No.
No, but it was
Yeah,
difficult.
not all the
for them.
everybody's right.
Well, I thought that everybody knew that the sun rose in the east and set in the west, but God, I'll tell you, it's not common knowledge. It's
But
not.
it's not.
Wow.
I can tell you for
Scary.
a fact it was not taught in.
Let,
where
let
I was.
alone what you were doing in high school, Sam.
Well, it fit. It logically, it made sense to me. So I wrote, and I took it on as a joke starting, because we had to announce our final semester term paper ahead of time,
Okay.
which gave us supposedly quote unquote time to think about what we were going to do. And so as a joke, I went, I'll take on an Einstein equation. And then the more I sat and wrote that, it was more that I didn't agree with the gravitational well and the orbitation of Earth and the dinner plate. Now we circle in the same spot year after year, when that's not how it works. Not only that, chemistry-wise, atomic chemistry-wise, according to what I saw in my head, told me that this, for example, the winter orbit, the fact that we have a winter orbit, an aberration in our orbit that tips us into a different orbit every few cycles says that there's something out there that is not part of us that is affecting us, which is where the Planet X theory all the way back in the 70s came from, that same premise. So therefore, I wrote what I saw in my head, that we had to have two stars, two sets of planets, to be a balanced solar system. And that is turned out. And now remember, again, they don't come in and slap a 17-year-old kid with a 30-year non-disclosure agreement for writing a paper in high school
Yeah.
that should be completely ignored by the rest of the planet unless you're right.
Right.
They don't come and slap you for being wrong, only if you're right.
You definitely rattled some cages there, Sam.
Yeah, well, my
it's not-
professor saw me solve equations he couldn't believe I did. And then he wrote it down in a hurry, sweating, scratching the pencil. I could still hear that pencil scraping. He pressed on it so hard that that pencil almost broke because he was so amazed, but he didn't tell me. And the man was sweating. And it took me probably about 3 or 4 years to figure out why. Because he's watching a teenager solve an equation that Einstein couldn't finish. So he turned it in, and that got within 3 months, all of a sudden, I come home from high school, and the NSA and the FBI are sitting in my parents' living room having coffee. And then I was handed a business card with the Air Force logo on the top of it, and I was to meet them at the fanciest hotel the next day for a meeting, and the rest is history.
Wow.
So,
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
and they don't come to you if you're wrong.
No.
And so and I waited the full 30 years to say anything to anyone, including my family. And I've always believed that we had two stars. I've always believed there were two sets of planets. And you cross-reference the Egyptian lore and the Sumerian lore with the planets and the passing events of the Nibiru system, and take all of that into account, and the other races and the demigods and all that lore, and it all fits.
Cool.
And there are no holes in this. And so, and then us watching it happen and occur for the last 14 years. I mean, like, go ahead, argue with me. I dare you.
Yeah.
Could it made it worthwhile to you, Samuel? You know that?
I don't know if I'll ever. I don't know if I'll ever regain the hell and fear I've gone through for this.
You won't forget it, but you
I don't.
past
But then
it.
I mean, this is also a learning tool, so therefore I can't discount it or hate it.
Right.
Because it is fashioned who and what I am, and it is the coolest
Absolutely.
god dang thing that ever was.
I have zero regrets, regardless of what happens to us
Right.
or
Right, I agree.
whatever. I have zero regrets. I wouldn't change a thing about it.
No.
Yeah.
And
What
it has come with a great deal of stress. I would be lying if I said it's all been pretty and
No, it's not easy.
It comes with a lot. You fight with yourself. There's not a day goes by that you don't question your sanity. People look
And
at
the
you like
sacrifice, the absolute sacrifice.
it is.
sometimes,
It
I
is.
think.
It absolutely does not come free. But God damn it, would I not change it if I
I wouldn't. I mean, look at the family that we've got now. I mean,
That's
I
what I was
wondered
thinking.
what it's so priceless. That this what we've got. Other people don't have.
Yeah,
We
I
can
think-
come
I
to
think
our
about it
friends
all the
and say,
time.
"Oh shit, look what's going on," or "This happened to me," and they won't judge you. They'll just say, "Like, okay, it'll get better. You'll see."
And
And-
Samuel shared his story. We've
Yep.
shared ours, and it's given us such a tight camaraderie between us. It's priceless.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
priceless.
It's made us all grow. Because we're all here for a reason, and we haven't seen that reason yet. We just really haven't seen it yet. Whatever else is in
We're
store for us.
seeing it every day, though, Jillian. Like, I know that sometimes it seems like we're not making as much progress, but
Mhm.
we're getting the ball rolling regardless. It's we're starting this, and whether it happens in our lifetime or not, it'll be something that generations from now will be spoken about and will be accepted finally, because as Sam said, which I was really inspired by, it has to, because it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what Sam said inspired me too, about how a Pleiadian, somebody from the future, had seen that we do it.
Yeah, that
And
also
I thought,
too.
I
That
don't know
also-
if I can do this. And then
No,
he
that
said,
is-
no, but we all do. We're all doing
We
it.
already
We're
did it.
all doing
That
it.
is
Yeah.
also really helpful when I get a little bitter and really wish that this could go a little faster,
Yeah.
to a broader
Knock on wood.
audience. I
Come
think
on,
about
man,
it
show me a
all the
planet, dude. Just want to see a planet and a shuttle going past so I can go to the other ones and go, yeah.
time.
Oh, we already do.
Be
I
humble,
mean,
Jillian.
just watch
Yeah.
the startup of this show. I mean, Rebecca's done a fantastic job
Amazing, yeah.
of
Oh,
putting up
what,
all
lady.
the full circle planets, and we could, I mean, if we did a real collective from
Thank
all of us,
Mhm.
I bet you we could come up with 100 absolute captures of the planets that are just
Oh, yeah.
beyond doubt.
Oh
And
yeah.
we work off
I
the
know,
cuff.
but they're sneaky wee planets, Samuel, and they had, if you're a chaos factor like me, you've got a 60 zillion photographs, but where is that zillionth photograph that you go, oh, sure, but I just want to show them because I know if they see this
One more
picture.
good capture. Yeah. And Jesus, his magic index finger is a strong turning point, even. And yeah, and I love,
Looks like this.
Mhm.
by the way, did you know videos that Rebecca put out where she's got the screen behind her where she's running, with the TV behind you, and you're
Yeah,
you should
I
do
need to
Rebecca
more
do
of that.
Rebecca
I
uses
will.
finger now too.
will.
I am very.
Rebecca's whole hand goes up.
Yeah,
I
see,
love how
Look at that.
how the show has progressed and how
we'll
it's
do that.
evolved.
Thank you, Carol-Ann.
Oh,
for the-
you're welcome.
Thank
You're welcome,
you, thank
sweetie.
you.
You're welcome.
The show has
Yeah.
been constantly progressing and getting better, and I am very proud to be part of it.
Right.
And,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Rebecca,
It's so 90.
Rebecca, we can't thank you enough, because I know
90.
you're the one that does all the prep work for this and all.
Right.
She's
Yeah, no, it's
great.
been priceless. It's given us a gift that we didn't have before. We all thought, oh, I have to fly to America to be with my friends, but
Yeah.
No,
it's all right. I
Pretty
can
good.
every
Thank God
Saturday.
for technology. Thank God for
Yeah.
technology. You guys are in my living room here with me right now. Here in my room. Discussion. That's
There's the
great.
thing. There's the thing with our cuppas. Mm.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and I am drinking out of my heading to the mountains cup, and I must go.
I'm glad you. I'm
Great.
glad it worked out for you,
Yeah.
Sam. I knew you're a mountain man, so I knew you would appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I lived in Minnesota for quite a few years in Little Falls, and I look back on it now and I go, oh my God, it's so flat. Oh my God, it's so flat. Every time I see anywhere, Minnesota or Iowa or Indiana, Illinois, and it's so flat. I couldn't leave the mountains. I mean, the mountains are in me, and my daughters are going, oh, thank God I was born in Montana because I'm from the mountains, and it's like, yeah, true. Although they grew up with thinner oxygen and than you guys have, but
Oh yeah.
I love. I miss my New Mexico skies. I do. Amazing. I think they're so unique to the rest of the world. Really, but I gotta say, I am in love with the mountains here in Utah. I
Utah is unbelievable.
It is an amazing, beautiful place. And
Northern Utah, right when you head up to the north part of Utah, the geology gets unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And
You know what I'm hearing right here, right now, is like absolute love for this little planet of ours, and that's so cool because that's what keeps us together.
Oh,
Like,
then
we're
you're lucky.
doing this because of our
You're in
planet, because
Scotland.
of
I
our
mean, you're in
people.
heaven over there, Jillian. I mean, Scotland is just
Oh.
awesome. And
Yeah.
Ireland, I would love
Right.
to go to the UK. I would love to.
Yeah, me too.
And,
But I
uh,
can't. I never dreamt I would be in two hemispheres, and it's because of people like Carol Ann that I'm here.
Oh.
It's a miracle place. But who would have imagined? I mean, I just said to Anne, the other lady that took me to choir tonight, it's like she showed up, Carol Ann, and said, "Right, let's go."
Cool.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
Just
Yeah.
go. It's like
Yeah.
what we did.
And
to
I
you.
did it like it's like yeah, like you said, you're gonna go, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, she gave me a hard time.
Yeah.
She did. Nancy and I had to push a little bit. and
You had to push it,
The one
and then she
night,
had to pack my bag for me.
Nancy helped her over video pack her bags, literally.
This is how you. Do you know I've still got that PDF downloaded on my old
Oh,
phone on
yeah,
how
yeah.
to pack your bag, huh? And how to wear layers.
And I stayed
All
with
the way from
her
that
for how many
Yeah,
days?
Nancy's,
3 days.
from from when I met
Our
her,
mama, our other mama.
she's a doer. She's one of those
She's
people
awesome.
that's gonna get shit done, and
Nancy is
Yeah,
a
you could
wonderful-
imagine her being one of them trekkers that got off the boat from wherever and just like, right there, well, how are you going to get there? That's all right. This is how you build one of these things. And then you get on and then you go.
That's Nancy. Yes.
Yep. And then you go. Doesn't matter if you're a woman. Oh, all right. Right. Get them trousers
that
on.
woman is
Pull up them big girl pants and let's go.
I told you that many times, didn't I? Pull up those pants, Jillian. This is what we're going to do. And we did it. I was
look at how I don't know. Look how close everybody has become. What a tight family we've become here. I think about that all the time, and
Need to get Nancy up on here as well. We need to get her on the platform too, because she was like she found all of us almost. It's like
well, she
magnetic.
this is also in her blood. She
Around a long
her
time.
uncle wrote a book. He's the one that did the one on the
Yeah,
halos.
those halos and yeah,
and,
halos and rainbows and stuff. Those
and
shiny things. What's the word?
there's another word. Rainbows, halos, and
sundogs.
It's something to do with.
it's a sweet word. It's I have it on my hard drive.
I know that's not fair. Nancy, where are you?
I really wanna go raid
probably
your hard
watching.
drive, Carol.
Pardon?
I wanna go raid your hard drive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, jealousy going on here.
I got lots of
God
things on that
bless
hard drive.
Carol Ann's computer that it may never crash.
Yeah, so
The
you got
first one did, and that has a lot of those old videos. The Understanding the Sky series.
Mhm.
They do make tools that you can take it and separate the hard drive from the entire computer and then
I have
download
tried
it.
several times. I
Take
I
it to
did start
a
to.
computer guy, and then they can actually directly hack a complete
You're looking at the
hard
computer
drive
guy.
onto a thumb drive.
I am the computer guy for many
Mhm.
years.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
what I
you know.
taught.
Oh, well, God, I need you over here.
Oh, really?
Right?
I've fallen behind.
Oh, we'll be
Yeah.
standing in line now for your consult. Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Yeah, but
we
I'm
did.
old now. I can't remember
I'll
the
call you
words.
next time. We did 3 days to get me back onto Facebook.
Yeah, I'm into the old stuff, Samuel. This new stuff is Rebecca knows. She's the boss on that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
The way
no,
she's
I
in
agree.
everything. I know the
I
old
just shake
stuff.
my
Hey,
head.
I
go, oh,
almost
God,
made it to a Black Friday sale for a laptop, and then everything was
Oh,
like,
man.
what's
Man,
more
you-
important?
It was a ghost town over here. I went out to work for a little while thinking it was gonna be busy.
No.
Nothing.
nothing.
Everybody's
Nobody's
broke.
got any money this year,
Well,
man. It's
well,
like
this
it's
is
eating
the
into
second year in a
everybody's
row,
Yeah,
pennies.
guys.
This is the
Uh,
second
on-
year in a row that it was like that. Usually it's
On
one of
Thursday.
my very busy days where I'm hauling TVs and whatnot for people. And you
Guys,
know,
on Thursday this week, our
things were
Thanksgiving,
good, everything, but nothing.
the
Wow.
Russian ruble crashed.
Oh.
Oh,
They halted Russian stock market trading until after the first of the year.
Wow.
Oh.
They stopped the downfall. The Russian ruble, which is standard to the
Yes.
American dollar, used to be, is now worth less than 1 American penny.
Oh. That's not good.
that's not good.
So, our market is going to feel a pinch off of that. The Chinese market will feel a pinch off of
yeah.
that, regardless of the sanctions that are existing. We are connected interglobally in markets, and not only that, new sanctions have kicked in for Russia, where prior to that there was a grandfather scenario that was allowing Russia to pump natural gas into like Slovakia and Czech Republic and all of that. Well, now those sanctions have gone and kicked in, and they've cut that supply off. So therefore, that is partially responsible for the Russian crash. So we are going to see and feel, and the Chinese market will directly reflect off of that. And if the Chinese market goes into a downfall, then that will affect the American dollar. And that has to do with how often they're buying our currency, et cetera, as well. It's a smaller percentage, but it will affect us. So we are seeing the tumblings of a world market change.
Wow. I mean, imagine your
and
dollar.
This is why we didn't have Black Friday sales, because everybody is broke.
Yes. I don't know how people are doing it at the grocery store. I don't get it.
I heard somebody on TikTok say something that I was completely agreed with. Why don't we have a Black Friday sale in the grocery store where people actually need it?
Yeah,
why TVs and crap that we just don't need? Why didn't the grocery store have a Black Friday sale? That would have been a lot more helpful for people.
Televisions at Walmart are far cheaper than they were even 6 months ago.
Yeah,
because they want us entertained and
absolutely.
Everybody,
you inside watching the telly, so you don't.
Everybody take your TV so we can further program you.
Right, and they're cheap because they know they're going to break in 3 months anyway. You're going to have to buy a whole new one.
A lot of that going on too.
I'm like Rebecca. I barely watch TV these days.
I don't either.
I don't either.
It's so weird.
The thing is
it's like we all broke out of a spell or something like that.
I picked what I want.
I can't stomach. I think once you know the truth, you start to see all the lies.
Oh gosh, yeah, especially.
And I just can't take much of what I see serious anymore. It's like a kick in the.
It does rob you of some of your.
It's like a kick in the gut, because. You know that you're being lied to constantly, and it's infuriating. So I can't watch TV anymore. I just can't.
Nope, I pick what I want.
Sometimes I come home. My younger brother, he loves watching The View. I hate that show.
Oh man!
Every time I walk in the door, he's watching The View, and I'm like, more trash TV, dude. Seriously.
What's The View about?
It's the feminine side. It's a current events, political, fashionista, Hollywood. 4 or 5 women get together.
I was going to say, is that where the women sit around the table and
right.
We won't name names.
And Sharon Osbourne and
you're right,
Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay, Whoopi used to be awesome, right? Well, I don't know what happened.
I think she sold her soul.
Man, she sold something.
I don't like that show. I mean,
right?
I do feel that they are politically correct, more or less. I guess. I mean, it's better than Fox. I'll say that.
Well, she's getting sued.
But I just don't like mainstream news because it's really not news anymore. It's Taylor Swift and the Kardashians and what so and so person had for dinner, and I just and then what little news does make the airtime, it's insignificant. It doesn't really paint us a picture of what's really happening,
and it's downgraded in severity or urgency or whatever word.
Nobody's
little bits of
nobody's talking about our weather extremes. Nobody's talking about how we enter our winter orbit way early. I was trying to explain that to a few people the other day, how they're saying that they have this is one of the years where they just cannot the time change.
Right.
Darkness has really kicking their ass, and I said, yes.
Yeah,
it came it came 2 months early.
Yeah.
It came 2 months early, where we should not be in our winter till way almost the end of December.
21st, isn't it? About the 21st.
We're in our winter tilt, but I'm still getting cooked out here. Like today, I'm
actually, I saw NASA just announced that we're 35 inches tilted. We're tilted 35 inches. Give me a break. 35 inches. Get the hell out of here.
No, we watched
Yeah, they give us little tidbits of truth.
Yeah.
we've watched
You
the
have to-
magnetic
you have
North
to-
Pole in the last decade alone move from the North Pole out in the ocean to somewhere in the middle of Siberia.
Right. Okay.
We're way off. We
Wow.
are.
Way
Yeah.
off.
We're
Like
not
really
at 40.
inches.
I think we hit 40
Inches.
degrees off. We are
Well, and that's
completely off.
that's full pole
And-
shift
and-
that they think.
To tell us we're 35 inches off, first of all, that wouldn't even be significant enough to make the
Right.
news. Why is it making the
Mm-mm.
news? And second of all, like
Exactly.
it's way more than 35 inches.
Now, if you take into account the electrical universe, our axis tip has to do with our magnetosphere,
Yes.
and that is this
Yes.
invisible, comes out of the top of the planet, comes out of the bottom of the planet with the little weak wave in the middle of the planet, and that is this like electrical armor outside of the planet. That's the same thing that holds our atmosphere inside. It's why we have oxygen, why it doesn't drift off into space. That same electrical bubble keeps our positively charged electrical oxygen here. There's a minor leak off. It can be
Sure.
pulled by objects as well. Anyway, that axis tip directly occurred in 2011, the change.
Wow.
Now, I don't believe that it's been constant. I think we've been wobbling like crazy every time one of the bigger planets come closer, because they also have a magnetosphere that's larger and more powerful and would shove us out of the way, which is part of that electrical interaction that we see evidence of with the planetary discharges and the shaft lighting that goes up in the night sky, goes between the planets. The smaller planet will bleed off ions, accelerated ions, which is why they're self-luminescent. Those accelerated ions will drift off to the larger body. So and that's sort of it's an active passive electrical exchange between the bodies. At a distance, it pulls it away. When they're come close to each other, they repel each other, because they can't not do that, because they're opposite polarity, we believe. And that's why their planets aren't stolen by our star, their star doesn't steal our planets, because I believe they're electrically opposite polarities. That is why I do not believe in a full rollover pole shift reversal.
And from what we see, Sam, and you pointed it out, and I always, to me, that you bring up these things to me that just kind of really make sense. It's why I'm still here, is because you mentioned it, and I always noticed this, but I never really clicked in my mind how their moons are always on the lower hemisphere.
Right.
And you see moons in our solar system, not just Earth, but our entire solar system, where we have our moons on the upper southern hemisphere.
Yes.
Well, we see their asteroids on the southern poles. We see their moons on the. Look at Attu's moon is, from what we can surmise, it's on the lower hemisphere as well. That would tell you that we're different polarities, and I think.
Right.
And I think the whole, I'm not going to say design, but the whole, how it all comes together is just absolutely incredibly amazing and so unified. Everybody's
Yeah.
looking for
They all dance
unification.
in a partnership that is
Yeah.
eternal and it's perfect. And
Everybody's
it's,
looking for the
Unification
unification model and separating Earth from space, like it's all separate. It's not.
Unification
We're
model,
all
Hoffman,
same.
1978, and we have to be half of another something, because we all knew that back in the 70s, this Planet X aberration that was affecting planet Uranus way off in the outer parts of our galaxy, our solar system, was somehow being elliptical orbit in an egg shape and therefore being affected. So therefore, there has to be the Planet X out there, dark, unknown object affecting our orbit. And that's exactly correct. And that's why I sat down and I was, reading everything Isaac Asimov ever put out back in the 70s, because it was on our coffee table. So I read it all the time. And, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, all of that crazy shit, everything my father would hand me, I read. And then, of course, in subatomic chemistry, I just knew. And Einstein had that thing. He could never he could never balance what was going on out there versus what's going on here versus the gravity. Gravity, well, I never agreed with. It's like, nah, that doesn't make any sense. That our sun is sitting in a hole and we're rolling in the circle.
I
toward
find that
it with gravity.
I find that so stupid every time that I see it.
And
I'm
yet
like,
there's this dark matter that pulls us and holds us back.
Okay.
I hate the gravity well explanation. I find it so.
Our planet is placed around our
fantastic.
star.
It's
An
just
atomic structure. Protons, neutrons in a chemistry compound of protons, neutrons, and electrons around two atoms, and a central electron holding the two atoms together in one compound. That is what we are. We are a chemistry equation in space. We're not just rocks that crash into each other for 8 billion years. And there's more to it. And then, we're part of there's a smaller part of us. And then we're part of a larger it that we're part of, that we're a subatomic mass to a larger dimension.
Right.
And people don't think of dimensions. They think it's next door, like walking from one room to another. But dimensions are different sizes.
Yes.
One connected to the other, connected to the other, connected to the larger one, connected to the larger one, connected to the larger one. And that's referred to in science as shirt sleeve syndrome.
Yes.
Look it up. It's on Google for free.
For free.
My new it's on Google for free. That's my new phrase, man. Go ahead, look it up. It's on Google for free.
Sam, can you answer Maria's question? I think that's an interesting question.
I haven't seen it yet. I do
it's
apologize.
interesting what's going on with her glasses.
Where is it? Maria.
Can you talk about the UV index as compared to what it used to be? I have photosynthetic glasses that have not been changing color when outside.
There's a way higher spectrum of UV that's coming in. Yeah. A few years ago, the call was like 73% more UV, and they were all warning this is part of global climate warming and all. And they're but the thing is that our God, Earth to Brain, come on, grab the name, Sam. Our atmosphere is healing from the ozone layer holes that we used to have, because we've gathered a handle on the release of Freon into the atmosphere. So our ozone layer has gotten better, not worse. So how do you account for 73% more UV light? Let's go back to the basics.
Yeah, there's only one thing that can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
There's only one thing that can do that. Is either our sun grew in size overnight,
right,
or we got extra brand new light bulb in the room. And our sun at that time, our sun was in front of the other sun. So the 73% increase was a 25% reduction of the extra 100% increase.
Wow.
And we've seen for the longest time, we saw that our sun was in front of the other one for forever. We don't know about that now. We have no information that says it's not, but yet we have information that says that it's separating. So we still have to see yet and see what happens. Until I see it personally by eye, separate, far enough from each other, that I know for a fact that those are two stars in front of me, or we have enough submissions that match from around the world. I can't jump across the street, but we do believe that the two stars are separating, and the second star is coming towards us. And I'm a little concerned, and we want it to leave on the right-hand side over our shoulder and go away and not fry the shit out of Earth, but it's still a possibility. I never talked to anybody personally that went through it in the BC era, the 1500 or 1600 BC era.
That's a scary thought. That is
beyond a scary thought.
Well, they are talking about apocalyptic Armageddon-like scenarios, and if you go and you do read some of Revelations and the Book of Enoch and the tablets of Thoth and all of this, if you read some of this stuff, there are pieces that are good and pieces that are bad. So
we were talking about how how our tilt, Sam. It's spoken about that in the Bible that the moon will dance
The
like a
moon
drunkard.
will roll.
Right.
The
The
man,
moon will roll.
the moon will dance like a drunkard, which is what we're seeing now. We're
We've
Right.
been
seeing,
seeing it for 5, 6 years now. Yeah.
yeah,
It's in the south, and then an hour later, all of a sudden, it's in the northeast sky. It's like, what? And our moon doesn't do that. When I was a kid, the moon rose in the east, set in the west, straight over the top of our heads
and the
at night,
shadow,
and due east, due west.
was up and down. It was
Yeah,
never,
we saw that with the
never
crescent.
across.
We saw the quarter moon. We saw the half moon. We saw the
The
3/4
fingernail.
moon.
Well,
We
they,
saw
they
the
called
full
it
moon.
God's fingernail at one point.
Yeah,
because
and then
it
you
was
then
little-
no moon.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen normal, 10 years now, Jesus?
Nope.
We haven't seen normal moon cycles in over a decade.
No. I point it out to people sometimes, and they don't seem to know what I'm talking about. That we
Well,
shouldn't
you would be
have
amazed.
moon shadow across.
You would be
It's
amazed.
foreign.
that people-
It's like I'm speaking a foreign language to some people.
Yeah.
If you take a picture of the moon and you flip it upside down or 3/4 or 90 degrees, whatever, and you show it to them, they'll think it's normal. They don't even know the direction
Yep.
of the paw
They,
print.
they won't. Yeah. Nothing has changed. To some people, there's been no changes, and I just will never understand that. You would think farmers.
Yeah.
Farmers, yeah. Well,
Farmers.
the Eskimos,
You would think all these people would
the
say
Inuit
something.
in 2011 were screaming to everybody that something's wrong with the sky. In 2011, this is the Inuit in Alaska, and they're
The moon-
screaming on video. They're breaking their cycle, and they're actually putting it on film, and they're sending it down through YouTube and into the rest of the world, going, guys, something's wrong with the sky. And I mean, they've got no ice, and the polar bears are dying, and the caribou are dying by the thousands, and nobody's discussed that, nor the forest fires in the great North Canadian regions that are supposed to be covered with frozen tundra, that are now in frost melt and dumping CO2 galore into the atmosphere. Does anybody talk about that? No. It's
Polar
all going
bears
on.
are seen more and more away from the Arctic Circle. We're
Yes.
seeing
It's
polar
sad.
bears in where they're adapting. I mean, that's kind of good, I guess.
Well, they're
At least
talking about shipping lanes in the
at
Great
least they won't
Northwest
go
Passage.
extinct, but they shouldn't be in these regions where they're starting to see polar bears now.
Yeah, there's no pack ice, and so they're ending up
the
on
pack
shore.
ice where they get caught
Why?
on and they just float away.
Yeah.
And it used to be solid, and now it's turning into islands. Now it's not even there at all in some cases. And this is why we had the sightings. Rebecca even remembers this a few weeks ago. There were sightings of like a herd of polar bears on one island.
Oh,
And they
wow.
don't do that. Polar bears are separatists. They're individuals.
Right.
They run in packs of 3. It's usually a mom and 2 cubs, or
That's it.
maybe if they're lucky, a male and a female, or 2 females, maybe 5. But this was a herd of polar bears because the ice melted away and they had nowhere else to go.
They're saying.
That's sad.
Yeah, and some of them gone so far south that they're mating with other
Yeah.
species of bear.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like unheard of.
Yeah, we're gonna start seeing new species because as we're seeing these animals migrate, we're gonna see a lot of new stuff. We're in a mass extinction die-off right now. We're seeing
Yes,
a
we
lot
are.
a lot of animals. Birds are not I'm not. I should be seeing loads of cranes right around now. I'm
No
not.
birds.
I'm not seeing them. I will see a little
Birds
pack
have
of them
died
every
off,
now and again. Maybe 10, 15 cranes at a
Wow.
time, when I used to see hundreds of cranes doing their winter migration. Now I barely see them. I
I saw
them.
Canadian geese this time
It's
for the
always
first
my
time in 8
sign
years.
that winter is coming when you start seeing those cranes.
Yeah.
Not anymore, and it's kind of sad because it's one of those things that I grew up. You see, it's a constant. This is why it bugs me how people don't notice these changes, because these things are so constant in our lives, in our everyday lives, and when something changes, how do you not notice? I didn't know. What got me in the beginning of all this was our moon. Like, I started noticing that the moon was just. I was going days without seeing the moon. it was doing the craziest thing. I went 1 week without seeing the moon.
Wow.
I don't know if it was our tilt. I don't know, but that's what got me started. Was I just noticed these subtle things that made no sense. That I was like, okay, something is different here. I mean, subconsciously, it should click, even if you don't know exactly what it is. If something changes in your immediate area, you're used to the same thing. Right. You know, somebody puts a purse in your car, right? You're gonna notice because that purse is never there, right? You should notice it. Why is nobody noticing these things? You know, why
they have been looking up the whole time, and now they don't see the subtle changes that aren't subtle to us, but they just stop paying attention.
And that's why I started Montana Skywatcher, so that we could have every day, we could actually account for recent current pictures. Because at the time, if you go, you know, just farming or fishing out there on the YouTube or the internet or whatever, or Facebook, you get pictures and they're weeks old and they're not reliable. And that's why I started the clearinghouse, so that we could compare, you know, Belgium to Michigan to Florida to, you know, Australia.
And daily, Sam, and I love that also you always said personal captures, because that makes a Skywatcher.
Right.
You know, I see a lot of other sites where they're posting stuff from secondhand people, right? They're posting stuff that's secondhand. The difference in Montana Skywatch is that we are real Skywatchers. We're really watching the skies. You cannot replace any files, any literature. You cannot replace that by actually watching the sky yourself. You can't. Yep. You know, if you are physically capable, watch the sky. If you're not watching the sky daily, you're not seeing those patterns. I don't want to hear you talk. I just don't want to hear you tell me that I'm wrong. If you're not watching the sky as much as I watch it, if you're not photographing the sky, if you're not time-lapsing the sky, if you're not constantly watching the sky, I don't care where your information comes from. You're not gonna teach me anything, right?
Yeah, they can't touch our information.
We have spent hours. We have thousands of hours of video. We have thousands of hours of watching the skies, and that nothing can replace that. If you want to be
thousands and thousands of members from around the world,
you have to actually get out there. You have to get out there. Nothing is going to replace that.
And we have to remind the people out there that if you are on Facebook and you're a member of a sky watching site, because I joined 20 this week that I hadn't seen before, or I tried to. I don't know if they accepted me or not. I don't know. Do they know who Samuel Hoffman is? Anyway, and you'd like to contact us, we'll get you on the show, even if you're a newbie and you don't know what you're, pardon the expression, your ass or your tea kettle. If you don't know anything but you want to come on the show and add to the sister site effect, once you start and we get to know you, and then we'll see how serious you are, we'll add you to that and we'll start sending material your way, and then you get a copy of the monthly site drawing. We're not going to charge you any money for that, and I should be paid for that.
Yes,
but, you know, I mean, the placement of these planets every month.
And don't feel like I know that sometimes we and Nicole used to bring this up, and I think she had a point. Sometimes, you know, we forget that we have been doing this for years, and sometimes we talk like everything's common knowledge. Don't feel we were very limited. A lot of us here were limited on knowledge as well when we came here. You know, we knew the basics. We knew maybe north was north, etc. The sun comes up in the east, sets in the west. But we were limited on knowledge as well when we learned
as we go.
So don't feel intimidated. There's no such thing as dumb or stupid. It's just learned and unlearned, guys. So don't feel intimidated at all. You know, we've done this for years. Chris hasn't, but he's a very quick learner.
The only dumb thing is not to ask.
That's right.
You just completed your first year here with us, I think. So.
October. I can't believe it's been a year, over a year now.
So it doesn't matter your level of knowledge, guys. Just come. We'll teach you. We'll
Right.
teach you the ropes. We
If
will.
I can do it,
We will
anybody
not
can
do it in a manner where we'll belittle anybody, because I hate when people do that. I hate when people help you but also make you feel stupid at the same time that they're doing it.
That's not gonna happen.
No. We understand that this is very limited.
We have a lot of practice.
The source of information is very limited to Nibiru Followers Anonymous and Montana Sky Watchers and its sister sites. It's very limited, guys. But
Promote your site, Jesus.
if you really are interested and you really want to learn this stuff, come. This is a perfect place for you.
Right.
Come. We will teach you. We will. We do expect some level of doing your own homework. We don't hold your hand the entire time, right? But we will guide you, and we will point to where the information is at very least. But we are expected at Montana Sky Watchers to not be hand-fed or spoon-fed anything. Questions are welcome, but you will have to do your work. That goes without saying, and it's why Montana Sky Watchers has been so successful, is because there's a level of self-responsibility,
Right.
Along with helping hands. So it's a great place to learn.
Yeah, and grow. Yeah.
And now that all I have left is Montana Sky Watcher 1. I am adding more new members.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, here we go. I threw out 3 trolls this week alone. And
Got some little trolls, did you? Oh,
yeah, they kind of, if we spill water on the ground, they kind of grow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say, guys,
but they usually come in threes, like in sets, like box sets.
Well, I had somebody type me, says, God, I've been on your waiting list for a year. Would you please add me to Montana Sky Watcher 2?
Okay.
Somebody
I felt totally guilty.
Somebody reached out to me also recently and said, I'm still waiting on my acceptance to Montana Sky Watchers. I'm like, I'll see what I can do.
I added literally like a week ago on Montana Sky Watcher 1. I added another 2,000 people.
Okay. Wow.
And I'm going to add it. My new count is up to like 150 requests. And I went through today and I added 20 or 30 people. So I'm going to continue to go through. And then, of course, that means my workload's going to double. Then I have to be there every day and boot out the wackadoos. And I will not tolerate anyone downing anyone. And, I've been doing this long enough that you can read between the lines on people. And not only that, I'm a damn good remote viewer. So, if you really want to play, I can look into your home. Ask Jillian. Kenny, can Sam do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so don't mess with me, man. No, and, we run off a vibe, all of us. And that's why the group is the group that we are, because we're good people. And we're here for a reason. And if you're here just to yank our chains, then we'll see that right away as well. We've all been through the trolls. But yeah, don't spill the water on the ground, and don't feed the trolls once they come up.
Well, I love that about this group, is that we're all drama free. We're not constantly fighting and picking fights.
We grew past it.
I love that. Personally,
I never allowed it.
That doesn't exist. We have like the nicest people possible.
Yeah.
Having a minor degree in sociology does help.
Sure.
We have all become professors in our own right.
I cannot say, even though when I'm quiet, I'm always reading posts, comments and stuff. Even if I don't comment or even but I'm constantly, I'm always watching.
Right.
There's not anything that I can say, oh, Rebecca shouldn't have said this or this. I never seen none of us involved in anything that I wouldn't be involved in myself, And
the moment the drama does happen, what do?
Right.
We nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Talk
this
to
is,
each
okay,
other.
remember,
Yeah.
we talked about this last week where there's people that are running down my page going, Sam never answers you. It's like, what? These people that they jump to conclusions. And, just because I didn't get to them personally, I may not have known them. I may not even have seen their message, but I do try to answer everyone out there that I do find. I'm sure there's a bunch of shit that goes by me that I don't see. So therefore, don't chalk me up as arrogant or crazy, or any of us.
No, and there's a lot of
We don't
stuff
do the
that it
drama.
just isn't worth engaging with sometimes too. Like sometimes I'll get comments that are just so outlandish that I'm like, "You're on your own, buddy. Like I just can't. I can't help you." Like,
Rebecca?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Caroline says that she got booted. Can you please look for her
Oh,
again? She's
I
looking
see.
for you.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
I know.
Hey,
YouTube
Yeah.
gave me an error notice.
Yeah,
And
it's going.
well,
Me too. I had one too. I got
That was
booted.
probably your internet.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay.
We got to get ready
cool.
for disruption of internet, because if we are entering the grand solar maximum, that is going to be more disruption to our internet services, electrical services, earth rhythms, the core of the earth, our bodies, our brains, all of it.
Right.
And I'm still
As if
chuckling.
it's not
over-
bad enough already.
Now remember that 9.4 X-class flare that hit Earth about a month ago actually sent a lot of material through our magnetosphere, and this is why the East Coast lit up electrically on Saturday. They were announcing to everybody that the ground had become electrified. That is that's an important event that we, because that is part of a Carrington event. And remember, do you guys remember when
it's not getting the attention it should be?
Right, and remember when Hoover Dam a few months ago, 6 months ago, had an electrical turbine blow up?
I do. I remember
that was also during an X-class.
Well,
so when was our flare? We had a flare just in the last couple of days.
We had two in a row. We had a 9.4, which was huge. And an 8.2 or 8.6. I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but we had.
Have we had anything this week?
I have not checked. I spent the last 3 days trying to get back on Facebook.
I don't know if people remember, but during Obama's administration, he said it publicly that we need to prepare for space weather events.
Yeah.
He did say that, and
that also includes Nibiru.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, but nobody.
It's a little one,
Again, not something that it was spoken of. It was a really maybe like a 5-minute thing.
Offhand, I said this on the side of the end of another sentence. Yeah.
And we never, nobody brings it up anymore. Nobody talks about it.
Well,
and honestly, I kind of forgot about it until I came across it recently, and I was like, oh yeah, he did say that. That's
yeah. Right. Certain presidents were told, I'm sure, about the existence of aliens and the coming. We know that the DUMBs were built because they knew that the planets were coming. We know that HAARP was built as a repulsive device because they knew the planets were coming.
Wow.
But when they built that, they were under the impression, like most everyone else, that the quote-unquote destroyer would be gravitationally catastrophic to us, rather than the electric universe and the electrical solar system, and how most of these asteroids that were on the way that they knew about are actually electrically connected to Uri and Attu, and therefore less dangerous, although they are dangerous to Earth and Earth weather. They are less dangerous than catastrophic mass meteor impact and destruction of the Earth, because it's cyclic. This isn't a one-time event. And they, at their infancy, when they spent millions and billions of dollars to study their fears, and they took me on, then I told them my paper, and then they didn't want to hear it from me because they got mad at me. And then they let a bunch of other idiots run the country for another decade or two. And then they hopefully finally got some of their shit together. Because, my electrical universe Information was the same as it was in 1978, with the minor exception that I've grown in knowledge since. And
Right.
it all has to do with a lot more than that. And if you talk about Tesla, we could talk about 440 hertz and sympathetic harmonic interaction as being one of the secrets of the universe, including a hyperdynamic equation or two that I have in mind. But anyway, that's a little piece of carrot on a string there. I have a hyperdimensional equation.
That's
No,
cool.
I don't. Oh, God, I shouldn't have said that. Now they'll kick in my door. Shit.
What does that mean?
No, you have a 102. You know.
Yeah, why didn't they block me on that one?
Wow.
I gotta say,
Right.
internet has not been very reliable for at least 3 months. At least 3 months. It's been so spotty. Even my Wi-Fi here at home, which is usually pretty high speed,
Yeah.
it's just been so terrible.
Yeah.
It's been so terrible. So
Welcome.
I
to
do
Fort
feel
Maximum.
it's definitely affecting things.
Well.
I suspect it's the reason for was it Tesla's satellites up there, because they knew internet would be interrupted. Tesla's what do you call those satellites up there?
Starlink.
Starlink. Yeah,
Well-
I feel that's why they put them up there, to keep stay face, and make sure that there's no weird things or nobody loses their internet, because people would freak out, but I wouldn't be surprised that's why they put them up there, because they knew our normal internet was going to get interrupted.
Bet you it's all connected to that Dark Knight satellite too. Mm.
Others could be 20 possibilities even beyond that. They're probably twice as nefarious.
Jeez.
Like I've said as a joke many times, I wonder if Elon is running DoorDash pizza service. To
Yeah,
the guys
I'm really curious what his end game is, because he's been making a lot of moves lately.
Yeah.
Making a
Well,
lot of
remember, he's not an American citizen.
And I'm really curious to know what his end game is, because honestly, I don't like the guy. He gives me the creeps.
Bingo.
Gives me the creeps.
Hey, if you have more than $1 million in any account,
Yeah, you didn't get it, honestly.
how the hell did you get there without walking over the skeletons and the bones of the people you climbed on to get that pile of money?
Right.
And that's me admitting a little bit more about my personal opinion than I would care to. But if you have $1 million and you don't reach out to people around you and share some of that, then sorry, but you're not a good person.
Yeah.
I don't like you.
Exactly.
Mm.
If you know what I would do if I had $1 million right now,
What would you do?
I would invite all of you guys to come stay on the Montana ranch.
That was
Yeah, I'm ready.
exactly what I was thinking.
I knew that.
You knew that we're all remote viewers because
I
we
would
can all
bring
see
it all
what
together.
I
I
would
made
buy
my
a piece of land that had a
chocolate
half
fall
a decent year-long river,
Do
no
our
matter
little
what the terrain is, and we'd build a whole shitload of hobbit holes
Yeah.
Nice.
And we learned to
and go off-grid.
we grow our own food. We'd hunt our own
Grow
food.
off-grid.
Raise our own animals.
Don't
God, I
bring
would
out-
love that. Yeah.
Jesus,
If I ever hit
bring
the
that.
lotto, guys, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna round you all up and
I saw the coolest little automatic electrical generator. You know, an ice auger. You know what an ice auger looks like?
Sure.
Those little red bladed things that you spin and it cuts through the ice.
Yeah.
If you take the ice auger apart and you just use the
Oh.
red area that's an auger, and you put that on a chain sprocket and you put it in a small canal and you wire it up to a generator using minute little rod stock and a couple of screws and sprockets, and
It
you've
would
got
work.
free power.
It would work. Yeah.
Because that screw is
Yeah,
a
brilliant.
pre-manufactured screw that you don't have to make your own water wheel. And if you run 5 of those damn things together, then you've got a super generator.
You're right.
Maintenance.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you're walking by it every day anyway to get water.
I know.
God, people, we can, free energy. You can live off grid now. We have the technology. People should just really, really rethink. Live half underground and a sod roof, and that way you don't lose it in these windstorms that we're about to have. In the early years, I studied some of these things where they were telling us we're going to have 215, 275 mile an hour crosswinds here,
Wow.
and you know that nobody's house is going to be left if you have 200 plus mile an hour winds.
Well, look at our history, Sam. Look at what people look at the building. Was it Turkey where they
Moved
where
underground.
they built underground? You have to ask yourself, if you want to know where you're headed, where you're going, where we're going, you have to look at our history.
Yep.
Look
Absolutely.
at look at all these during, as you say, during the Bronze Age, the Mycenaeans, the Minoans, all that time period. Very interesting time to research, guys. I love researching our history because it says so much about what we're currently living right now and what could it be, what most likely is going to happen, and we have
Atlantis, the transition of northern Africa from green to desert, all of that happened within these same time periods. And then if you go back another cycle, then you go back to the Noah age, which is what Jerry was talking about, I think earlier. Noah was 2 cycles ago. The last cycle was the breakup in the Bronze Age. And then prior to that was another entirely different story as well.
So Noah wasn't the most recent one, then, Sam. Interesting.
Excuse me, say that again. You
say Noah isn't the most recent cycle, then?
Noah was the great flood was 2 cycles ago.
Wow.
And that was transitory, having to do with the last meltings of the last ice age, 12,000 to 10,000 years ago. And then there was a huge everybody ask yourself where the water came from for the Great
Flood.
Flood.
What I was about to ask them. Would you think that's around the same period that Graham Hancock is talking about with the Scablands and all that? You think that was Noah's time?
Well, now, Scablands, 15,000 years ago or so, this is approximation according to general science. The Great Lake Missoula, which is where I live, I would be 200 feet underwater right now.
Wow.
The Great Lake Missoula that sat here 15 different times, emptied because of glaciation opening, an undermining of glaciation. The water will eat and super cool and won't freeze, and it actually becomes below freezing because of the hydration pressure, that it doesn't freeze, and it will undermine these glaciers. And what it did is it ate its way through the Canadian glacier between here and Idaho, and when that gave way, it dumped an entire unbelievable large mass of water through, which created the washaway of these massive tsunami on land, great flood that went through Idaho, Scablands, Washington State, all the way down the Columbia River.
Washington State
carved the land in a matter of 2 weeks, Sam.
Right, and it did that 15 times.
Yeah. The evidence for that in Washington State is
overwhelming.
It's there.
Oh yeah, I've taken the tour.
It's wild.
I did the geological tour.
The water goes
if you look at it from now that we have NASA, the satellites up there. If you see a satellite of that whole area of the Scablands, it's insane. Like the size of what happened there, the scale of what happened there was just absolutely insane.
Rebecca, excuse me. Jillian was kicked off, and she's in the chat room.
No,
Rebecca.
Chris, there's an episode with Graham Hancock. I don't know if Rebecca's hearing.
Yep, she's waiting.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Chris, this is a great one. You should watch. There's an episode with Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock. Well, he has like 3 different ones. I'll send you the link.
Oh, come on. We need to do a better reference than
fascinating ones. You will see.
I have a question.
I feel that every time that I watch it, I'm like, I have so much questions that I have that I answered.
If you really want a good source of information for the Great Scablands and all the floods and everything, go type that in Southern Washington University.
Oh, I bet.
Right.
And then you will find one of the best speakers of geology and volcanoes and tectonic plates I've ever seen. And I watch Southern Washington University information just about once a month, if not more.
Thank you.
I have a question. Well, it's more like a thing that happened back a while ago,
I
but
forget the doctor's name, by the way. Yeah, go ahead, Jillian.
I remember having a dream back when I was in South Africa, but it also kind of connected to something that, again, what Nancy was doing about a place to stay. And I had seen like a vision or something of your mountain, like it was like you were high up, and then to the left of you, like it must have been towards Washington or something, there's all this water was there.
Right.
And it's in the future, and
Right.
this big circular UAP came down on the top of a mountain,
Right.
and we were waiting for everybody to join us at a table.
And for that, I would recommend that you look up Gordon Michael Scallion future maps, or the U.S. Navy's future maps.
I
They
think
are
you have
available
those
on
maps,
YouTube.
Jillian.
Mhm.
Pretty
Gordon
sure she
Michael
has
Scallion.
them.
I hope they're all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, if the big crack does happen and our ocean levels continue to rise, they're going to seep in to areas that were like. Did you know that Salt Lake used to be an inland sea? Did you know that the Central Valley of California used to be a very massive lake? It was drained
But
in
I also have something else
30
to say,
and
but there's also passageways underneath all of us.
yeah, that too. Yeah, there's underground waterways galore that we don't even know about. The aquifers, etc., in the Midwest that need to
And
be.
underground tunnels somehow that we were all
Oh, yeah,
connected
that's
underground.
there
At
is a
one point.
tunnel
There must have
from
been.
modern day Turkey, like Jesus mentioned. There are cities underground that run all the way to England from
Jeez.
Turkey underground, and this is documented.
Oh yeah.
And you know they don't want to tell you the true story, and I pray and I hope we don't go through the scenario where we are so hot that we have to live underground. But I want you to keep that in mind. And I wanted to leave Montana. I wanted to move to Arizona, and I was told directly not to.
Wow.
I can't
And because,
imagine.
and
It would
I'd
take,
love to live
how
in.
many years would it take to build an underground city, though? Like, how long would I have to wait to get
Imagine.
to a place?
Depending
to
how
be
much your
underground?
ass is burning, you know.
And
How
how
many
Petra?
shovels I have? Or,
How old is Petra? You know Petra in
what?
Oh,
Jordan?
Petra's incredible.
Petra was
Yeah, it's like
lively. Petra was
they
lively
were
just
more
after
advanced.
the Bronze Age breakup.
Is it different to Cappadocia and places like Gobekli Tepe and that? It is, isn't it? Because is it younger?
Gobekli Tepe was
Farther away,
about
12,000 years.
10,000 years. That was like 2.5 cycles ago when that has to do with transitionary periods. Now remember, the Garden of Eden is supposedly in that area, and remember that it is scientifically proven that wheat does not come from Earth,
Right.
and it was placed here by the demigods. And let your imagination go to Google, look that stuff up. It's free. Little hints.
Well,
There's a
the
lot
wheat we
to
have now is supposed to not be the wheat that they had in Egypt. You know, it's like completely different. It's all changed, and it's
Hybridized.
it's too hard for us to
Hybridized wheat is
digest.
We're
what's
thinking
making
that
everybody.
Hybridized, yeah.
It's hybridized what's making everybody so sick. You know,
Yeah.
ever since I cut out
GMO.
all that stuff,
Germination process
Yeah.
changed.
everything doesn't resemble. Even our fruit and vegetables don't resemble what
They don't taste like they used
They
to.
don't. They don't.
either.
Yeah, no, they
They
don't.
don't, because
It doesn't
that
satisfy
carrot
you.
thing that I cut the other day, man, it had like a weird kind of inside to it. I
Um,
thought,
maybe-
wow.
I haven't. I don't go to Mexico as often as I used to anymore because most of my family is already in New Mexico. But I remember the last time I went was when my mother passed. But I remember having dinner at my uncle's house, and the food, the meat, everything. The vegetables were like half the size. First of all, the meat had a different color. The fat on the meat was more yellow because that's what it looks like. The meat was a little bit more, I would say, like a purple color.
It's what they're
Um,
feeding them
and,
too.
and it was from the butcher. It was from, like, we know the butcher that killed the cow just the day before or that same morning. You know,
Mhm.
has a different taste. It's a little gamier, but
Oh,
it's so much more nourishing. I remember eating. Not only was I getting fuller right away, but I stayed fuller long.
Mhm.
It's just
That's how I cook.
we have stripped all the nutrients from our food in the name of making it quick and
Yep.
profitable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we are seeing the consequences of that now. Diabetes is on the rise. Overweight, is being
Oh boy.
overweight is almost normal now. I had to learn the hard way. Had it wasn't because I saw my mother slowly deteriorate of diabetes.
I hear that.
I had to make some changes, and then I realized once I educated myself that the food that we have, especially in America,
Oh, it's bad.
you have to be really careful. You have to be careful, and you have to teach yourself. Forget
Right.
what the FDA says. Forget what the
Right.
American Diabetes Association says. Especially, don't listen to the Diabetes Association because they're wrong. They're
That's
completely.
absolutely correct.
I saw my mom do everything the doctor told her to do, and still get worse and get worse
Yeah.
and get worse.
Diabetes treatment is very
wrong.
difficult. I mean, it's not easy to be diagnosed with diabetes and then be sent home with all these drugs that you have to take. You have to test your blood sugar. You have to do
Well,
all
that's
this
the
stuff.
thing is that they don't teach you that
No, they
by
don't.
changing your diet. Instead, what they want to send you with is just a bunch of pills, but they don't start at the root of the problem, which is diabetes is just a carbohydrate overload where your body just can't accept it anymore.
It's
You
true.
have to get to the root of the problem.
Absolutely.
I don't believe that it's inherited. I don't. I really don't believe that. I think it's inherited because our eating habits are inherited.
I totally
The food
believe
is
in the
full of
grapefruit
sugar.
diet.
But
Yeah, that's good.
once you understand certain things metabolize and not okay, carbohydrates, some people can tolerate them better than others.
Sure.
I
Right.
can't. I can't. The moment I start now for Thanksgiving, I had pie, I had flour, I had these things, and I my shoes. I had to loosen my shoes just
Oh
the day
no.
after because
Like you're supposed to.
I have to I have to really toe the line with what I eat, and I love eating.
I believe that
Carb-
citrus diet, the more orange juice you drink, the more grapefruit juice, especially. If you
Can't.
increase your citrus intake, it will wipe out some of the carbohydrate issues.
Yeah.
It really
And I
does
can't do
help.
that with kidneys.
Yeah, right.
If
And,
you're on any
yeah,
kind of
It all
medication, you
depends,
gotta be
right?
careful with
can't do
grapefruit.
Well,
grapefruit
my
juice.
my
Yeah.
uric acid or levels have been one of the things that I am having the worst time with bringing down. It's taken me like 3 years just to get them back. I'm almost where I want to be,
Right.
where I need to be, but it's been difficult. But what I do now is alkaline. I try to be a little bit more alkaline. Water, lemon, and a little baking
You tried
soda,
any baking soda?
salt.
Yep.
It's great for alkalizing your body, and it's
Right.
also very good
But what kind of alkaline water are you drinking?
well, I just get regular water, not faucet water, of course, because
Yeah.
that'll kill you.
There's bottled waters out there that say alkaline on it.
I
And what they do is
know.
they put
Well,
in
I just
sodium
look. I
bicarbonate.
make it myself. I make
Oh,
it
good.
myself.
There you
Get
go.
water. I add baking soda, lemon juice, lime juice,
Yeah.
or lemon. Each one will work, and then some salt.
Okay.
It's gonna make you very thirsty. It'll make you very thirsty.
Add a pinch of sugar to that as well.
You could do that as well, but
And
because
that way the body will absorb it faster before
Right.
without wasting
because I
much
avoid
out of
sugar, I don't. But you could add sugar
saline rather than an.
if you don't have a.
What you need is like a grain.
But
Wild,
we
our body
live in
works.
a time now, guys, where you have to educate yourself on everything because you go to a doctor, they're just going to give you more drugs, which is, probably the most profitable institution in the world is
Well,
a
look,
drug.
they own the food.
Apart
They
from
own
the
the food
church,
companies
Our
that manufacture the
industry
food.
is
It's
$1
scary.
trillion a year business.
Yeah.
You have
apart
to
from the church,
question,
of course.
you have to question these people and their motives. You have to educate yourself, and also not all diets are universal. Some people have
Right.
different needs than others. I can't tolerate carbohydrates very well at all. I have to limit them, and honestly, I don't. I like eating a low carb diet. I love it.
Fulfilling.
It's fulfilling, and it
It
keeps.
is. Yeah.
And
And
you
I'm
do
not
eventually get
be
used to any
hungry or
diet you're on.
eating garbage junk food.
Right.
But you have to be
No,
self.
I can't do acidy things. I can't do
Yeah.
acidy things.
Yeah, exactly. Reading.
Tomatoes. I love tomatoes, and I can't do those anymore. Sorry, I'm random.
Reading
sure.
the literature they gave us when we were in school, the food pyramid, all that.
Oh,
throw
that's a
that shit
bogus.
out. Throw all that shit out along with
Yeah.
everything, and start from zero, and start teaching yourself.
And cook fresh.
Yeah.
fresh.
Don't buy
course.
frozen. Don't
Food.
buy canned. Well, canned is okay, but
Just cook real food. Cook food that doesn't have a long list of ingredients, guys. That's
Yeah.
If you want to just start there, that right there alone will make an enormous
If
difference.
you can, then grow some stuff yourself as well. So.
If you can, absolutely.
we may have to before you know it. And God
Right?
forbid that we have a Carrington event where we get shut down, because the worst thing that if we do have that period, we're going to have all those nuclear power plants all over the planet are going to go
Oh
off.
my God.
And then
Yeah,
then
imagine.
90% of us are going to die from radiation in our atmosphere alone. And I mean, I get, I'm right back to that where I'm holding my head going, I can't believe they started the first one. Yet we got, how many thousands of nuclear power plants do we have on this planet?
I have
No,
one
there's over
1 hour to
70
my south.
All right.
They're
I think we have
talking
over
about
75 in
restarting
the
it.
U.S. And that's scary. I mean, they decommissioned one in San Diego. It's called San Onofre, and they keep all of that used spent nuclear fuel on this site. It's decommissioned. They don't run it anymore, but all that stuff they use is still there, and they
And it's
keep
hot.
it in these like concrete because they don't have nowhere to put it. They got rid of Yucca
Right.
Mountain, and that was like $60 billion well spent, and they don't use it. What are they going to do with all that?
Well, people
It's all
protest
over
when
the
they
place.
transport it across state line because they
They
had.
transport it across the ocean. What
Well,
are
we
they-
had
they-
material from Hanford coming through here and headed toward, I think, South Dakota is where they were putting it. But we had regular through Missoula, regular truckloads on a diesel
Yeah.
semi-trailer, material from Hanford that was being shipped to the Midwest
Wow.
through our town. And currently, they used to
Yeah.
park those rigs on stay over at night where our local Burger King is. So they're selling hamburgers where they used to park the radioactive trucks.
Right.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
And
Your lucky
I
little
remember
arms
Low
don't
burger.
grow out of the meat.
I'll take a
the
neon
whole block
burger.
is
Or,
empty, so the nuclear radioactive trucks
Glows
would
in
go
the
over
dark,
and
that
do
stuff.
at night. And I found out about that because I walked up to it one day, and I'm walking up to a truck, and I'm seeing the radioactive signal sign, but the writing on it's very small, and you had to walk up really close to read it. And it said radioactive, and I went, "Oh shit! I've already walked too close."
Hope
You
it's
know.
thick, man. Mhm.
And that's
Oh,
where I learned why they
yeah.
were parking there. And then I looked up where they were going and where it was coming from, and it was from Hanford. Now, Hanford is a nightmare with
yeah, it's
rotten
bad.
80-year-old ceilings that people have fallen through and gotten exposed, and it is very close to the Columbia River, within football fields length away, and we're in trouble. And I hate to keep saying that all the time, but we've had such a huge ticking time bomb going off right in front of our faces for so long,
I knew you were going to say
Yeah,
that.
tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
and we are
Every day that we're here is a gift, guys. Like I don't
Yes.
think that we really think about that. It's probably better that we don't think about it constantly.
Yeah.
It'll mess with you.
Oh, I know. and
But
I
every
get
day
so-
is a good day. Every day that we wake up
Right.
and we get up and
Right.
Every day you see the two suns.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
think that people really realize that that's a thing right now. That every day is a gift.
It is a gift. big
Yeah.
time.
By night, what happens? We don't know. I mean, God, tomorrow, what could happen? And yet, yeah, there's a lot. There's so much to this topic and subject for us to all get into. And we don't want to make anyone go running out the front door and off the nearest bridge. But we don't want people to get paranoid or freak out or go do any charging of your credit card to go hide off grid someplace.
Yeah, it's awareness. You need to be aware.
Yeah, we're not teaching fear, guys. Just awareness. Yeah, we're not saying things won't. Things can happen. Things
Look
are
at that
happening,
beast.
but
Meow.
it's not about fear. Oh well, she looks like a happy cat.
It's one of the babies.
We had our daily
Oh,
dose
boy.
of mittens.
No, we haven't
I
had
know.
Hey,
Where's
buddy.
Mittens?
Here.
Come on, man.
Hey,
We're
buddy.
seeing Stella's tail, but Stella's gone now because
Hello. Samuel. Hey, hi, Samuel. Oh,
Buzz.
oh, that one's been a snuggle bunny, mommy.
this is
I'll start
Moji.
sneezing anytime now.
What's your name?
I'm joking.
I know
Yeah.
you're gonna make Sam sneeze.
Yeah, I have a cat. I walk into the house, I can't breathe. It's like, oh my God, I have to tolerate that animal. But it's
What's
my daughter's
Rosabella doing?
cat. Rosabelle is very fat and very spoiled.
Oh,
Rosabella's better now, eh?
One of the world's most expensive cat is now a big, very, very
Yeah.
happy.
That cat was a sick kitty, hey, Christopher.
Oh, she was.
Curvy
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, we had
This is
3
the one
different
that
doctors
has
tell her
the
to put her to sleep, but
23 and a
nobody did
half
not want to lose her
toes.
baby. And she
She's-
did, she spoon
Follow that.
fed her and with an eyedropper and put food in her mouth and made her chew to gain some weight after the surgery. And
oh.
she brought her back to life, and got food from there. But
Samuel's probably a vet nurse by now. Oh, look at that baby. Oh my god. I'll go down, mommy. Ouchie.
What
Yeah,
happened?
Rebecca is attempting to get Mittens. Mittens doesn't like
I
to
don't
be
know
picked
how
at.
I let another.
Mittens doesn't like being held, so
No.
probably
No.
she's probably
I
having
don't-
fun with that.
Mochi, look at this is the one that has all the toes. He's an Egyptian Mao. He's a polydactyl. He has 23 and a half toes.
What?
Yeah, polydactyl.
Ouchie.
Yeah.
He's
Not a
polydactyl.
pterodactyl, a polydactyl. I called him a pterodactyl one time.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I swear to God, Stella
Big
knew she's
cat.
back.
What? What?
Wait.
Oh yeah, he's big.
Wait. Hold on.
Is she going nuts?
Cat time.
Mittens.
I mean,
Hey, calm down. Calm down.
Mittens.
Hang on. I'm going to make the picture big for her.
Look at her
Here.
nose.
Cat
There
time.
she is.
Nose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There she is.
Look at her.
Yeah, stand
She's
up.
not impressed.
Yeah, no, but that's what she looks like, and that's how big she is now.
She's beautiful.
She's perfect. I love how the whites like go down the front of her arm or back of her arms.
Her nose.
Anyway, it's like these. Anyway,
Yeah.
She loves how her arms go.
She does not like being held.
Lost the headphones
No.
twice.
she came out.
I see
Your
yours
arms.
is a lot more holding friendly.
Yes. Oh, it's funny. Like if she
Yeah,
comes
you
and
have a cat
sits in my
too.
lap, I'm lucky. What's that?
Two.
I said, I knew you had a dog, Joey, and I wasn't sure if you had a cat. But
Two dogs and two cats.
It's family kitty time.
yeah.
Yeah.
See,
I can't
they
believe I'm letting
put
another
like
animal
5
into my life
kitties,
again.
like say, like Carol Ann's got the 5, Rebecca's got one soon,
Oh, I got seven.
and I've got 2 of each. But
I've got
yeah, I think we're catching up with each other with fur life. You've got to get one now. Come on, Jesus.
Right?
Talking
I-
kitty.
you know, we've talked about getting a
Two.
pet here, but we
See, Chris is in the kitty club. You could get a fish.
But what everybody
It's
forgets is
big.
Yeah.
cat box. That's the clincher. I did not want to have another cat box in my house, but now
They
Oh,
have
I've
these,
got to show you something. I've got to show you
Tidy
something.
Cat, and all of that.
Something
Hey,
that
brought
you
to you by
definitely
Tidy
need to
Cat
do.
and Kitty Nums.
Oh, it's gross. Oh,
Yeah, I can tell you my nose is definitely itching.
Oh no!
Just watching all of that cat fur, like
Double cat
Yeah.
power.
there you go.
what's that, Jillian?
It's a backpack.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. This prepper can take her babies with her.
Is that for your pets?
Oh, you keep your cats in there?
Yep, you can stick 2 cats in there, and then you can get dogs on the double dog lead.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I would have a backpack, with shit in the side. So
Off to the park.
Oh, that's great.
well, I was thinking more along the lines of in the apocalypse or a fire or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
At least you're
Yeah, at least you can get them in there and go.
Yeah, we have a pet
That makes a
carrier
lot
for
of sense.
emergencies, yes.
yeah, like Sam was talking about. You've got to have a pet carrier if you know what's good for you.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, and just in case you do, nobody wants to plan bug out, but having a knowledge that all your gear is in one place, you don't have to run around in circles for 3 hours to gather everything is also important.
Right, and where are you going to go? That's the question.
There is
That is
Apparently, the Cairngorms. That's another thing I wanted to say as well. Was like
I'm
in that map, we were talking about what end of Britain is sticking out the water still, and by some bizarre fluke, it's the bit that I'm on. That's the bit that's sticking out the water.
Well, good.
Well, be aware of where your tectonic plates are. Be aware of where your volcanoes are. Be aware of the wind and the rain systems and the weather. And of course, high ground is always better. I always say old rock.
Yeah.
And not area that's going to move or get swallowed or get major sinkholes and things like that. And then remember water, number one, and fuel. If you move up to the high mountains with no fuel, well, you're going to be freezing.
unless
so you have to have an area that has fuel.
Cutting the wood,
Yeah, cutting the wood, having
burn
the
wood.
ability to cut wood.
Yep. I think I'm in an ideal spot because I have all that.
Learn how to make your own natural mortar for
Absolutely.
cement. And outfit yourself with the basic needed tools, the old-fashioned ones, the
I'm
chisel,
ready.
the hammer, the saw, a good. Now they make some phenomenal woodland backpacking saws nowadays.
Okay.
That technology has really come a long way. Don't buy the cheap ones.
I am prepared.
And a good
Look
backpack.
at Caroline's face.
I am prepared.
Learn about freeze-dried food and what foods keep, and look into
Do all
the
that.
Amish dried food story.
Right.
They have food packed away for years, and they eat it regularly. They live off of it.
We can.
And then you have a bug out possibility in your mind. And then we've talked about this many times in the past.
Medical supplies.
If you really want to have a
Medical
family conversation about this, one day,
Right.
turn off your power in your house.
Yeah. See
One
what you
day.
can-
That's nothing for around here. We all.
Oh
think-
yeah, we went here just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
We went 3 days without power.
We were fine because we have the solar generators.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
that
have
was when that
regular-
storm went
We have
through.
regular
Days.
generators. We cut our own wood. We have
Yeah,
wood
I
burners.
am not rich and don't have my own generator. Sorry. I want one. I want a Generac. I
I'm
really
older than
do.
you, Sam. We saved for a longer time.
Yeah, and you had 2 incomes.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I'm a 1 income guy, and I'm retired the hard way.
You can
Well,
always
son,
come
trust
if
me.
you-
After I divorced,
Go to a charity shop.
1 income. Oh God, it makes a difference. It
Yeah,
really
it's huge.
Yeah.
When then add 2 kids,
Yeah.
then you
Right.
try to buy clothes for
Yeah,
teenagers.
they thankful. I mean, nothing against
Yeah.
kids, but
Oh, no, thank God we all have what we have. I'm
It turned out
thankful
that
for
way.
everything I have.
They can
Every-
guzzle money.
Yeah, but then you retire, you lose the majority of that income, that even the 2 incomes.
Right, you're true. You're right.
You
Don't-
know,
don't- yeah, and that's
so
coming really soon for me. I'm
you
gonna
have
lose
to
money.
prepare for that too. And I did that all my
in
life.
2 years, in 2 birthdays, I lose a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, I know.
I'm in trouble.
It's
And
not
so,
as
you know,
bad as what a lot of people tell you.
well, that's when I write a book. I think I don't know.
Well, you'll have a
It's
lot.
yeah, I think so. At least
Mhm.
I think I don't know. Maybe there's
Audiobook.
pictures or something,
Hey, I'd like to go viral before then, people out there, if
right?
you guys wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You know.
maybe this thing could take off, and maybe
I
we.
feel like, how about we try to get Sam on as a guest onto a bigger shows?
A platform
know,
that.
A bigger,
No,
right?
I don't want to
We-
go.
like, we need to,
I'll
like-
do a phone interview.
Yeah, but Sam,
I'll do a phone
I
interview.
know of a few. But I could do some checking around and see who's,
Well, you know,
our
the one
type,
thing we do that, you know,
and try to
I've
get
stayed
him
on
on to a
Facebook.
bigger
I have
audience.
stayed on
Yeah.
Facebook to try and stay as low key as possible. That way, you know, and
You don't want to go big time. You don't want to go to the sci-fi show.
Well,
Oh.
there's nothing
Oh, sure.
subtle about going viral, Sam.
well,
you know, I could always do the shadowed person where they film me and I'm sitting in the dark.
What?
That I would do.
Right.
Rebecca can
Get your
be there in
voice all
person
muffled.
while you're there on the phone, and you can work it together.
Yeah,
She's
for-
got the presence.
Or
She's
I
got
could, you
to
know,
be present.
totally go into hiding and become Professor Nibiru.
Well, I don't know, Sam. There is
Yeah.
safety in going public. You know,
Come here.
Say that again, Jesus.
Yeah.
there's safety in going public. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I have tried to be, you know.
There's another one.
Yeah, right.
Oh
Hello,
my
kitty.
gosh.
Oh
How
wow!
white that baby is.
Look at her.
The white
Wow.
man.
Oh,
It's a boy.
man.
Like she lit up the room behind you.
It's a boy.
It's a
Looks
boy.
like
That's
a girl.
Bianco.
That is Bianco, yes.
And
Bianco. Yeah,
He was
that's it.
born during a hurricane. His mommy crawled in the window well, and the rest is history.
Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet.
Bianco. He's a big boy.
He's 13 years old.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
They're all
That's
lovey
sweet.
dovey's. They all want
yeah. How sweet.
I
You've
see
got
her on-
huggy buggies. You got huggy buggies. I got terror
Yeah.
buggies
He's
that
got
like
girl
stick
baby.
their tails in my face
Yeah.
and flounce off if I haven't got a sachet in my hand. And they leave you like with a bunch of hair in your nose.
Oh,
Ask them.
Yeah, this is our Nibiru family.
Hey, Anissa Arabians is here.
Hey, Sam.
your microphone
Hey.
is muted or away
I have
from your chin.
lots
There you go.
more.
No.
You want more babies?
Sam's itching enough.
Yeah, I'm getting a those reaction. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, Sabrina, I don't know. Facebook, I think, is here to stay. I mean, look at they're doing Meta now, and they're investing a lot of money into that.
I think that what
Facebook
kicked in.
the
I think
rules,
Meta
right.
kicked in. Some new rules kicked in over the last couple of weeks, and other people are
Yeah,
saying
that's
we
the
can
ones
change.
that are going to be final in January or something, and that we have to watch out about the copyrights and
Congressional
trademarks.
discussion about TikTok is still going on, and that comes to fruition in December. Whether or not they're going to
It's
ban
January. Okay.
Well, that's what I like about posting just stuff that's my own that I really don't want. I mean, you know, I've been having a hard time with the music that I'm using. It's like they offer music to use, but then I get a
Tell
like
you you can't.
but they tell me later
Copyright.
that I can't, or that it's sharing revenue with somebody else, and I'm like, I'm not seeing any revenue. I don't know what you're talking about.
right?
I'm not
There's
seeing
no
that
sharing
money.
revenue.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, their
I've been
revenue.
having a problems with that, but aside from any of that, like I only post stuff that's my own, so I to avoid problems, you know, and because I love taking my own stuff, but yeah, that'll save us some problems too. Try and know where the source of whatever we're posting comes from.
Yeah.
Is something we're really gonna have to be more careful with, guys.
Right. That's why I don't go out and farm off of YouTube or farm off of multiple sites off of Facebook, and I stick to our collective, sister sites, and I will occasionally use other sky watching sites if I'm a member and I find something highly interesting. Then I'll collect it. But generically, most of our information has been gathered from Nibiru Followers Anonymous or Montana Skywatcher or Jesus's channel, or Christopher's channel, or
Or
Jillian's
sister
channel.
sites,
There's a
etc.
few other people that we talk to regularly, and that is why we stick to personal sightings, and that way what, where, when,
Yeah,
how,
and
why.
if you have questions, you could answer them, and it's authentic, and that it's not AI generated, because we're seeing a lot of problems with that. I feel that they're pretty obvious still, but there will come a time where you won't probably be able to tell the difference. So it's good to do personal
But
things.
AI cannot copy planetary placement unless we were to tell
I
it.
I agree.
Hmm.
I agree. But it's
So if we
always
see
always
something
good to do
in
your
the wrong
own.
place, we know it's not right.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
the wrong
Yeah.
size, wrong
And also
color.
the way things are illuminated, the way those kind of things. There's always a
Right.
tell. But the thing is that there's a tell for us that are a little bit more experienced. There's a lot of people out there that wouldn't know the
True.
difference.
True. I didn't look at it that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all see things through an elevated point of view, and there may
Oh, yeah.
be people that are getting mad at us because we talk about something way up here in this topic rather than go back to the beginning basics. And
Okay.
like, where did the planet names come from? Why is this? Why is that? And stuff that we already know, we automatically just go around and avoid talking about. And I try to keep that in mind, although I am regularly guilty of it.
No, I'm starting to fade now because it's like, I don't know,
Hey.
3:45 in the morning. Or
Go to bed,
something like that.
Jillian.
No, I'm not going to bed. I'm nearly there now, man.
Oh, okay.
Are you having a long weekend?
A marathon.
Are you working
Saturday
tomorrow?
and Sunday off. So
Well, then I guess you got a few extra hours today, I guess.
Yep.
I am
do
gonna
my,
have to go short.
do my other job tonight.
My dad is downstairs, and I haven't. He'll be here till Monday, but I'm gonna have to spend. I have to, spend some time with him because I.
So how do we collectively get the new folks to roll into this adventure with as much zeal as we found when we got here?
We have to start from the beginning with a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I think is a trick.
That
I
true.
think I really think that's the trick. Is you have to start small, because we're so ahead in a lot of what we do and say that. I think if you just come out and start telling somebody about the cubes and all that, the stories and all that, I don't know, you might lose a few people before you can get them on this side, But
yeah, because they think, okay, well, Star Trek freaks.
Well, I always start with, have you noticed that the sun started coming up in the northeast sky all the way back in 2011? That is where all of this began, visibly from Earth, without having to go into the SETI Alpha project or me from 1978 through 1980. And by the way, Carol Ann, when your microphone is under your chin, we can't hear you. It's got to be there. We go. Now you're.
Thank
now you're correct.
you.
Because you said something a minute ago and I couldn't even.
Yeah, well,
hardly
the
hear
cat, and I forgot.
you. Anyway, no worries. Yeah, we do have to. We have to point out to people all of these. We talked about the moon earlier. The sun started rising in the wrong place.
Mhm.
People have forgotten what high noon is.
Yeah.
Of course, this time of year, it's not the proper to point out. But if you look at the sunrise tomorrow morning and you see how far southeast that sun is,
Yeah.
you're going to go, what?
It's
And
more
then-
south than it is east.
And then if you also look to the northeast, you'll see Venus. And
Yes.
Venus is
Yeah.
not supposed to be in the sky. It's supposed to be due east.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah, it's in the wrong place.
The thing is lighting up the sky in the
On
wrong
Saturn's right
way.
there too.
Even that I've been walking out there at night, and I'm like, I feel like I don't recognize their stars. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
The Milky Way has moved as well. We it's actually Earth. It's our solar system. It is traveling along with this second other star and this other solar system, and we are going to the northern ecliptic of our plane of our galaxy. And this just started happening as of 2010 through 2012, and that's what the Mayan calendar graph is all about. We are moving galactically as well as between our other larger solar system, and we're trading places as we transition through this unbelievably massive movement in our solar system at this time that we're so aptly and enjoying and proudly living right now. One of my daughters said, "You mean I was born at this time when all this really cool thing could possibly happen?" And I said, "Yes, it's exactly what it is. You're born at the perfect time to see one of the greatest shows that ever were within the last 4,000 years."
Wow, that's awesome.
And the biggest secret and the biggest lie. And I could go on, and which I do. This is why we've been doing 90 shows, the 87 shows before that, and the 30 shows before that, and the 32 shows before that.
Number one.
90. I know.
90.
I know.
90. It was just one the other day.
It was.
I know. And it probably took Sam a year. We talked about a show. He was like, we could do a show. And we just sit there and just, daydream about a show, not knowing what it would be like or anything. But
Right.
yeah, I couldn't imagine it for a long time. No.
I think it turned out awesome. I never.
Yeah.
You had
And look
asked
at
me
you
this a
shine,
year ago.
girl. Look
You had
at
asked
you
me this a
shine.
year ago.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who would imagine that we would have actually done quite so many and that it takes
I
a year
know.
to do 90?
Right.
And wow.
And
Thank thank you all for hanging out with us. You guys have been such a consistent and awesome.
I know the people listening to us.
I was talking to Thunda the other day. She PM'd me, and I was like, it's we have I think quality over quantity.
Oh yeah.
We have a very consistent. Not the it's well, I mean, 50 people is a pretty sizable group, but we have it might not be the biggest group, but it's the quality of the group is awesome. It's all amazing people that are always here with us, and they're always engaged and commenting and asking questions, and that's awesome.
Yes.
And they hang out with us the entire show. I mean, that
right.
I can't say enough about that.
And thank you for
5,
tolerating
6,
me.
7, 8 hours.
That's so nice, Anissa.
And to you guys to
Thank
hang out the
you.
entire time. I mean, you guys are really awesome. Just want to say,
No, I love you guys.
thank you all. You guys
You are
really-
my medicine tonight.
How they do
Awesome.
it?
I have a hard time with that.
Right.
Mine
Me
looks
too.
No,
more
I
like
don't normally do that, but
a pumpkin.
Point the
Yes,
thumbs
you
down.
Ha, I
oh
can't.
no, Karen.
Mine looks like a pumpkin.
Yes,
No,
that is,
I
I
can't.
know it takes practice.
My wrist is black and blue from here down to here because I
Oh
was
no.
Yeah.
I was doing
Hey.
yard work and I
Hey,
overdid,
there's Aaliyah.
Oh.
so I'm
Hi, Liam.
blue.
Blue.
It's tough,
Is it
right?
okay now, Caroline?
At least my rear end don't feel so bad anymore. I was putting
Okay.
we rebuilt our trailer and I had stained the boards when we were done putting it in, and I went to jump down off the trailer and it was dark, and there was a great big metal plate that had 2 long rusted bolts, and of course I came right down on it, went through 2 pair of
Oh.
pants.
Whoa.
I'm dangerous, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. What can
Sure.
I
Thought
say?
that was just me with the e-bike going to work in the snow and the ice and stuff.
Oh no, if there's an accident somewhere, I'll find it.
Are you accident prone?
Yes, lately. I tell you, once I hit 70, it got worse. It's
Really? I did that in my younger days.
like,
I got myself into a lot of trouble. I have scars.
Oh, yeah.
And
I have to slow down.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
now
to
in
do
my
Yeah,
older
definitely.
years, I'm really calm because I know how things can hurt when they happen.
Oh, it hurts a lot worse when you're older.
Yeah.
And you
well,
don't heal as
You know,
fast. so you-
yeah. Well,
I
when
know,
was,
Katie
when I
Jo,
was
I know.
probably 12 years old, I broke my arm, and then 2 weeks
Ouch.
later, I broke my leg.
Oh.
Oh
now,
no.
Now I really feel it. Like I really feel
Ouch.
it as it gets cold. My
Yeah.
arm, my leg. It's
Wow, isn't that
The old
crazy?
weather
Feel it.
monitor.
they don't stay the same for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, weather's coming. Ow! Yeah, I know
You
that
feel
one.
it. Yeah. When I was
I
little,
had heard about that. That when sometimes your bones start getting achy as weather
They do.
rolls in. But I know that for a fact now that it's definitely a real thing.
when the barometric pressure goes down, trust me, I feel it big
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
But when I was little, I jumped and I fell on my tailbone. So I have 3
Oh, I did
herniated
that
discs
too.
in my lower
Ow.
back.
That's
I had operations on both wrists.
Yikes.
that's rough.
Yeah,
That is
breaking
rough.
your
Other
breaking your
lots of other
tailbone
things.
is
Yeah,
that's no
that's not
fun.
fun. That's
Mm.
not fun.
Quit. Stop. Don't go there.
I
Yeah, right. I
know.
was
know.
babysitting these kids, and
You have
they
to
made
be
me get on a
careful.
skateboard, and one kid kicked me off of it, and I landed on
Oh,
my ass.
No,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, it was
Skateboards,
fun.
they're a ticking time bomb, man.
Oh
They're
yeah,
next waiting to
especially
happen.
when yeah,
What
Tell
about
you, this is
trampolines?
It
What
looks
about
so fun.
trampolines?
It looks so
those are
fun.
those are
but
dangerous too.
Those are
They'll
very
knock the wind
dangerous,
out of you so
Jillian.
hard. Oh,
I
God.
did that. You don't want to. Trust me.
If you're easily shocked, please turn away.
Right.
Yeah, but we're laughing about
What did
it.
Skywatchers do to their bodies?
Right. Oh,
Well,
man.
that's dangerous too
Nancy,
because I know
Nancy.
somebody that walks down the street with his camera like this and walks into telephone poles.
Oh, uh-oh.
Yes, that's
Rudy.
also why we say park your car before you take photographs as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we want you to park it in a pole.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Nancy's here. Nancy's
Hey.
here.
Hi, Nancy.
She says, I cannot imagine a Saturday without my Sky family.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that's
how
cool.
we feel about them
Yes.
too.
I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
Wouldn't
don't
trade
often
one
get
of
to
them.
sit and talk like this,
Yes.
but sometimes you just need to.
Yeah. Sometimes.
You
Yeah.
just need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to talk to your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love you guys.
I
Mm.
know.
This is like the Waltons now, isn't it? Where
It
you go,
will be.
night, night, John boy.
Night, Jillian. Night, Jesus. Night,
It's
Sam.
true.
Night, Ian.
It's true.
Rebecca. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Mary Ellen. Oh, I remember that. But they did it in Afrikaans in South Africa. So everybody was talking in Afrikaans. And that's how I learned Afrikaans because how else are you going to learn what they're talking about? So I would sit there with my tweetalige woordenboek and sit there and figure out all the different
Right.
words. But it was a great way to learn how to spell as well. Well, I was only 7, so
Yeah, you didn't have a tablet back then, did you?
there's my tablet.
Speaking of that, our friend Wally, is that Ola Wally?
Ola Wall.
Oh, Wally.
He had some issues with his phone, so he's been on MIA for a little bit, for about a week now. So,
Oh, okay.
Again.
yeah, if anybody's wondering, yeah, he reached out and told me to kind of hold down
Okay,
the fort.
all
for
right.
me, so.
Where-
It's good to
Yeah.
know.
If
We're
you're
all
watching,
having
if you're watching, buddy,
odd
hopefully,
issues.
hopefully you get that phone thing taken care of. I know.
He had that problem maybe about 8-9 months ago. He
Mhm.
cracked his phone and it was horrible.
Yeah, he was talking. About
Yeah.
it. I was like,
Bummer.
sorry. Yeah.
Well, we hope he
Crazy.
finds a way to get that fixed.
I hope you weren't
Actually,
hacked.
I know he's addicted like us too. He's he lives for this stuff too. So just thought I'd kind of mention him.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, so is that us? Have we covered everything? Is there more big pictures or?
Well, there is a little bit more, but you all tell me. I mean, I have a video, a
We
slideshow.
could wrap it up for the next 7 minutes and hit 7 hours quite easily.
Uh-huh. Well, you know
Mhm.
what? Katie Jo's video is 7 minutes.
Well,
Oh, there we go.
You want
Well,
to
you know
end
what?
with her
We'll talk another
video?
half
We're
hour
gonna
after
end that
that
in
anyway.
Katie Joe. I love Katie Joe's work.
Let's watch it.
Let's
I know
watch.
she's here watching tonight.
Go,
so,
go, Ghostbusters.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we know
Okay.
what's up there is by watching, by learning.
Yeah.
So let's learn.
Okay, cool. This is a video. I'll just say this. she sent me a slideshow, these series of pictures. She put them together, and it was going really fast, like 2 minutes or so long. And I slowed it down to like 7 minutes almost. So anyway, I thought it turned out really good. All right.
What a perfect way to end.
I do that a lot. Like when I don't have time, I'll record just real quick, and then I'll just slow it down and post.
Yes.
Production. So, yeah.
Ooh, I had one like that.
Boxy stuff there.
Light pinch.
Yeah. Pinhole sun. Look at it.
Yeah, and it's not a sundial because there's no halo that is coming below the horizon line.
Yuri
That is an atmospheric halo from a light pinch.
Yuri has been pretty much blocking the sun the last week or so. Something.
And look what's coming in from the upper right too is this
Morning.
phantom yellow moon coming in with, and then the lead asteroid is dead center in this shot. And look at all that light refraction and all the stuff that's up there. There again, lead asteroid dead center in front of it, Phantom yellow moon. And over and over and over, lead asteroid. This is the thing that we keep integrating with just clouds. Excuse me, just clouds can't match over and over and over and over again.
No.
Especially since these are not clouds in our atmosphere.
Right.
Because there are barely any clouds currently in our atmosphere. It's kind
Look at the
of
curve.
on the weather.
Look at the curves. They're right above the sun.
Start at the dark areas, work to the light, not the light to the dark. Do it the opposite way of what you're used to, and you'll see these passing planets. And think sky pillars. That's the biggie. We're all taught to look for planets, and they're little tiny things like Venus and Saturn right now. These white dots in the sky, and everybody goes, "Well, I don't see a planet." Right above the sun.
Well,
the
look
blue
at what we
asteroid.
have for. I was bringing this up in one of my videos one of my lives, I think. Look at our context. Our planets in our system are really small. So is our moon. So that is a context that we have. We don't have a context.
Right. Plus, our planets are spread out, way spread out. These planets are between Earth and the sun, right?
Yes.
So
All of them.
all of them, and they're going to be
For
huge.
example, I believe Jupiter, I could be wrong, it's like 240 or something, or 400 million miles away from the sun.
Right.
And that's just, Saturn and Jupiter and all of that. And these things are all stuffed in an area. Now, there's a lot of room in 93 million miles
There is.
between us and the sun. But
Well, yeah, we could fit all our own planets in the distance between Earth and the moon. We can literally fill all our planets back to back. Our solar system planets, not theirs, of course.
Together, if you stacked them, the moon is 265,000 miles away. It is blowing us all away for many, many years how close these things are to each other. But then again, it boils down to outview. We're looking through a big bowl of water. So the outview is magnified, but they're
See, that is what I still to this day I get confused and I just can't. My brain still fights with that outview look. Is how close are they really when we have that magnification? That fishbowl effect. Things look so close, but yet they're way further than you would imagine.
Well, we did see last week we had that NASA footage where they're taking the filming the side of the planet Earth, and then within 3 frames out pops Atu, and Atu is huge. It's a gas giant, so therefore it is quite a distance away from us. It could be 1 million miles away from us, but we don't know. There's no way to measure this.
Good night, Chris.
Boy, I tell you, tonight I scrolled down. I'd fallen behind in the comments. I think we have the longest list of comments I've ever seen. So that's
Good night,
I'm glad
Chris.
you're talking.
gone.
my phone has plugged in the wall. Jackie told me I'm going to pharmacy before they
That
good night.
happened. Night, Christopher. We'll see you next Saturday.
Oh, I never finished reading that.
So Emma,
Yeah,
big brother or sister, Sam? Thank you, Rick.
Imaru is an electron cluster gas giant that is a massive. It's a mega gas giant, and it holds the 2 stars.
Thank you, Sam Recollect.
Wow.
Thank you for getting
Much
these.
appreciated.
It's
That's-
an
you were
unlit
awesome.
star.
Thank
Gas
you, thank you,
giants
thank
are
you.
unlit stars stacked up, ready to at
Really
some point in
appreciate
time,
you.
100 million years from now or whenever our suns
That
die
7
out,
hours.
that probably will ignite as a central
How do you do that?
unistar. I don't know what to describe what it would, or we could compound into a third star or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but chemistry wise, but it's a chemistry equation, and the electron cluster that holds the 2 atoms together. One solar system is 1 atom, and another solar system is another atom, and we are joined by Imaru. And it's so big that perhaps scientists have never realized they're staring at a blank area in space, and it's actually a dark brown dwarf mega gas giant. And that's why we don't
I
normally
heard
see
you
our
say,
next
Sam,
star.
in one of the interviews that it takes up half of our solar system.
Oh yeah,
Jesus,
it is so big. It is probably, we could probably fit more in the size. Imaru is so massive that it is beyond and there's no way to prove this, but
that
it's
is insane. But I mean,
Yeah, I remember when you showed us that silver disc thing with the pips on it, and I still wasn't actually getting it. And then I realized, like, holy
Yeah, I
Toledo, he
really
means like
believe
the
that's where
whole circle is it.
I believe
Well, I
that's
mean-
where that 1980s information, where they started talking about brown dwarfs and all of that, with that Claude guy, his information, or I forget what the guy's name is, and I really should memorize his name. But there's a basis of information out of the 80s where perhaps they actually did see it in telescopes and then kept it classified. And this is where his information, where he's talking about the brown dwarf system and all of this. Well, many in 83 or 85 or whatever, it would be very small and very far away, although we are attached to it. So
great stuff, Katie.
it's really hard to fathom all of this and how it works, but we know it's cyclic, and we know it happens over and over again. So therefore, the distances can't be that great. It's not in some, like, we're passing once every 300,000 years or anything like this. We were pretty close. So
especially in cosmic terms, it's really 3,000 years is not very far at all.
Very short period of rotation. So, and the only thing that we can fathom is that, that we were placed on this planet to do factory planet Earth. And because of the reoccurrence of this, it is a feasible scenario where we hand tribute to the gods every cycle, which fills into just about every religion we have on the planet, where we are, to pay respect and tribute to the gods, and the passing of the gods and the coming of the gods, and thy kingdom come, and all of that. So most of this fits, and it sure explains a hell of a lot. When you put all the pieces together, you kind of go, wow, this really is possible. And it is.
And everything that we're seeing, Sam, like everything falls into place. Like when you pay attention to what's happening, or weather patterns, or even when I see close passes, and then I'll wait maybe just a few hours, and then you start seeing events happening all over the world. Like it's, once you are actually paying attention to what's happening and you're noticing these planet passings, you'll see the destruction that they're leaving behind. Like
right.
you,
Oh yeah.
Volcanoes, storms, back rotating northern hemisphere anticyclonics and all of that. Yeah, discharging.
Yeah.
We documented close passes of the
discharges
in 2020, 2022. And we compared that, and we watched it go across the country and destroy people's homes electrically with these freak storms that weren't on the radar, that came out of nowhere. And we saw examples of that behavior this spring in April and May in the Midwest with all those freak tornadoes and this reoccurring weather, which has persisted all the way through to today. And it's hitting Europe now. It's hitting Asia. It's hitting us. They're having freak storms in South America. Remember here just a few months ago, during their winter, our summer, they had a big freeze, which froze animals in place. None of that's normal.
And I know that's really making the major news. None of it. Those freezes, those people freezing, those animals freezing almost instantly, that should have been mainstream news. It wasn't. Why?
It happened in the North Pole as well. There were entire herds of caribou that were wiped out up in northern Canada a few years ago. All these the forest fires in Canada don't even make the news anymore.
It's that flash freeze, and they don't talk about bizarre things like that.
Yeah, they are limiting the connective information for people because they don't want people to put two together, which equals 4, which means we're in deep shit. They don't want people panicking. They want to. Okay, Audrey, what's going to happen in the 2025 Nostradamus prediction of destruction? It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening. It is. We're seeing it right now. Look at Italy. Look at what. Okay, in Italy and Greece. Today is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Watch what happens to Italy and Greece.
Sam, before I forget, and before we wrap this up, I've been meaning to ask you a question. I don't know if maybe this is a little soon to answer, but so I know Yuri's going as they go past us. Say Yuri's asteroids are mainly underneath and behind Yuri. Are these? Do you think these discharges are going to get any worse? Because I've seen some crazy discharges that are hard stoppers. I haven't seen them here so much. When I was in New Mexico, I seen a few that would just they are bone like they will scare you down to your core, like very scary. Like
we know that
I'm not scared of weather. I love weather. It's rare for me to get scared, but these discharges that I've witnessed are very scary, and it's something that me and your old partner used to talk about all the time. Is that people don't think he was worried about discharges and how big they could actually get.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Mars. Mars. Look at the Grand Canyon on Mars. That really looks like an electrical discharge.
Right, discharge pattern. Yeah, absolutely. Question is, are we going to have one of those events? Could we have one of those events next year? Yes. We don't know what's going to happen when this atom gets close and goes directly over the top of us for a period of time. It's just scraping in front of us now, getting large and larger. And if you remember back when Attu's moon was really, really big over us in 22 to 23, it caused a lot of really freaky stuff to happen too, including earthquakes and etc.
Yeah, I remember
we're loaded for bear on Japan's tectonic plates on the West Coast tectonic plates. There's one going on in the mid-ocean drift. Of course, we know Africa is splitting apart near Madagascar. Any of those escarpments throughout the world, including the escarpment in Texas, any of those could change from the discharging from the close passes. The volcanic activity could occur from discharging. We know that herds of animals are dying from discharges. We could still see more because remember we saw that also beforehand from when in 2017 and 18 when Nepenthe came for her first close pass. That's when we saw the first big, massive planetary discharges. So there, on the halfway point, we're still a couple of years away from going past halfway. So yeah, it's entirely possible we'll see more. It's
And that's
it's
think about
within the realm.
them as they make their way over us. That
Yeah,
they
we can't
used
discount the
to.
180-day cycle, nor can we.
Right.
Yeah,
Last year it went till
the
December.
worst.
We
But
could
I've
say
noticed, Sam, that now what I'm seeing is a lot of asteroids right before I see Yuri. I'm seeing a bunch of asteroids.
right. Remember, I
And
said,
then
we could
comes,
be.
and then comes Yuri, and as it moves over us, there's a whole
Yeah,
trail
December
of
and
bunch of
January could be
crap.
really nasty.
And it's really it's concerning because it
Yeah.
seems every time seems to be bigger, and every time it seems to be more destructive.
Look how big the Tan asteroid is. Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah, it's those discharges that really do scare me. That if we get one of those, I mean, yeah, the asteroids ain't gonna hit us. At least not the bigger stuff, or not
They
like.
repel. They repel.
But those magnetic electrical storms that they create is
Yeah,
something
the
to be of concern for sure.
Red Sonja storms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fearful of those. I keep saying we could have another Chelyabinsk event. That's the one where the asteroid came in over Russia and blew up over the atmosphere and blew out, 20 miles worth of windows, and thousands of people were injured. So we could see that again. We could also see electrical discharging that can do something like that, where the power itself burns the atmosphere, where it creates.
St. Marcus in Holland.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I was reading something because my eyes fell in it. But yeah, you're
that
talking
new
about the
storm that went
Chelyabinsk.
through Holland caused a lot of damage, and Belgium and Germany are flooding also, and that's barely making the
So,
news.
guys, when you're out there watching and you start to see these Red Sonja kind of lightning, be careful. Try to don't get too comfortable. Things are very close right now. Things are very close. So try and be a little bit more conscious while you're out there filming or taking pictures. Stay away from trees.
These huge sideways storms that go through here, and the wind gusts where you can't even see across the street, and you're flying down the street along with your lawn furniture. And that's what it can be like when those asteroids come in and pass. All of a sudden, you have a mega storm with 120 mile an hour gusts of wind out of the blue that you couldn't even explain, and it wasn't on the radar, but boom, it went by. And that has been happening all over the planet for quite a few years now. And,
yeah, I reckon that's why they're trying to tell us, oh, well, we're not sure. Somewhere between the 2nd and the 4th, we're going to get snow and rain and hail and wind and stuff.
The
lows.
The weather report is so off. It's so unreliable now. It is so unreliable.
It's random. I think they're just going, well, they probably know kind of cyclic things that they're watching as well.
But they don't look above 35,000 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't take a lot of what is really happening into consideration. They're just looking at local weather, really.
Highest consideration for weather has to do with air traffic control, and that's 40,000 feet, unless you're in military, and the military flies up to upward of 65 to 75,000 at the max. That's pretty much the ceiling of where they go, and we still have some atmosphere above that, but it gets pretty thin. But then all of this other stuff is going on way above that, and I often ponder, what is the length of that lightning bolt between that planet and our planet, and then it must be thousands of miles, and it must be massive, and you'd think it would wipe out entire regions, and yet it doesn't. But then if you take into account, the electrical burn patterns in the face of Mars, I think that's more catastrophic. But we have, and okay, look at the Grand Canyon. We don't know how it was formed, and there were other miraculous, huge volcanic craters and washout Grand Canyons that are no longer in existence because time has eroded those. There was one literally from middle United States that went all the way through Arizona, and they have a volcanic string that's been eroded away over millions of years. So there's a lot to geology that we don't even understand, and yet the escarpment between Canada and America is ignored, and that, in my opinion, that's the North American plate that cracked, and I don't think they take that into account. But I think that was the formation of the Great Lakes as well, and other people may view it differently, and glacial melting and deposits and tectonic plate movement and all of that. But yeah, there's a lot we don't know. And subduction through separation of plate tectonics is a huge part of it, and I don't think we view that often enough. And that is exactly what's going on the east coast of Africa, near Madagascar, and as a matter of fact, the Mid-Atlantic Drift, where underwater the planet is slowly spreading out, and sink wells and things drop in there, and the new land is formed through volcanic activity. So there's a lot of activity that we don't. Everything's linked. None of these people, the geologists, don't link with the weather, and et cetera, back and forth. They don't cross-reference that everything is connected.
Right.
Long story short.
Another thing with the weather, Sam, Anissa just brought it up too. Since I'm small, thunder with lightning. This lightning, there's no thunder.
That's right.
There's no warnings.
That's right.
And people are looking at and seeing the lightning, and I mean, it's really scary.
Yeah.
But they're not even questioning, well, why it should be thundering as much as it's lightning, because we used to always count it off. 1/1000, 2/1000,
Right,
and then it would crack.
Right.
Yeah, I think here is thunder snow as well. Thunder
Space, we
snow.
don't
we
hear
talk
it.
about.
We've had thunder during snowstorms.
Let's talk about the harmonics of the earth, the sky sounds. Rebecca, do you have that video?
Mm-hmm.
Since we're
Let's get
going
it.
on and on, this is this is so important to everybody who's religious, from Revelations all the way to everyone who's a scientist. These harmonic sky sounds
For everyone.
2011.
For everyone.
This is my favorite one. Can you turn it up at her?
Uh-huh.
Is that coming from the clouds?
I don't know, it's somewhere up there.
Weird.
What is that sound?
That happened when the planets arrived.
That's amazing.
You can hear that, right?
This is a few years later.
That is so creepy.
And right there, that's Attu and Attu's moon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at how dark it is up there compared to the horizon.
We're up with Bonnie Doan.
You can see the big planet up there.
And if you question it, go to YouTube, type in "sounds of the planets."
Certainly hear that.
Look it up. It's for free. I said it again.
And again, I'm gonna quote the Bible, but those are your
Oh, yeah,
trumpets
trumpets.
right there, guys. Those are
There's
your
your
trumpets.
trumpet sounds.
Very
Yep,
trumpets
there's
of
trumpet
Revelation.
sounds. There's even one in Jerusalem that is incredible.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I did enjoy
Uh,
that one very much. It
Oh,
was very
somebody
loud.
sent that to me.
Yeah, I love it. I'm even turning up my computer here.
You know, once you know this stuff, it's a lot
Or,
easier to
or
interpret a lot of our history and a lot of scripture and Bible talk. There's a lot of it that can be
That's scary.
that could be understood in a different way with different eyes once you know this.
Right.
Once you take into consideration the binary system, there's so much answered questions and others that other questions arise as well, but so
Right.
much makes more sense when you take that into account.
It's a lot of metaphors.
There's the Jerusalem one.
I remember this one. This was in my early days.
Yeah. I nearly freaked when I heard that one. Ah.
I gotta say, I'm nostalgic about those early days where I was still trying to figure things out.
That looks like the base cloud of Saru right there.
Look at that thing. Yeehaw.
Strange sounds are being heard around the world.
That one made it to the news.
Sweden, this sure sounds like a trumpet.
There you go.
In Michigan, another trumpet-like sound.
The one at night, that's freaky.
I've never heard one myself.
I mean,
On YouTube, type in "strange sounds in the sky, Missoula, Montana." There's probably 4 or 5 of them. I heard it.
I get earaches, so I'm guessing I subconsciously must hear something. But I get really, my ears start to bother me, right?
There are days that it
Usually right before a close pass, my ears start to really bug me, it's been happening since yesterday, so maybe something will come by soon, but
Yeah, I feel it in the middle of my stomach.
yeah.
It's like a
That's where the seasickness comes from. Inner ear.
yeah, and I was
stomach.
really seasick today. I thought, oh, I better tell Sam that one. I feel like something's coming.
Like I said earlier, today I felt great. A couple of days ago, I was just like, "Oh my God, what is going on again?" It was only one day this week.
Hi.
Like 2 weeks ago, it was like 4 days.
Hi.
Baby number 3.
Yeah, I believe it's the atmosphere is rubbing together like a finger on a crystal glass, or tectonic plates underneath us moving because of the planet's pull. You know, like scooting a chair on a linoleum floor.
It's
It
amazing.
sounds like steel. Sometimes it sounds like steel being dragged. It's really gets on your last nerve and goes.
This all started after the planets started rising up underneath Earth within proximity 2010, 11, 12, 13.
God, that would creep me out.
Yeah, me too.
That would creep me out.
Oh, there you go, people. Something to go to bed with in your head.
It's
No,
okay.
I'll have that image in my head now. But,
Sorry. Yeah, and I was like,
well, I'm
Well,
gonna
this
cut
is
out,
just
guys.
another one of those things.
I'm gonna go hang out with my dad for a little while before I head
Sure.
out to work.
okay, give him a hug from me.
Okay.
I definitely will.
Okay, Jesus.
It was always nice hanging out with you. It seems like
Me
2 hours
too.
flew by, but I
Dude.
I was thinking I tried to open my eyes earlier, and I was like, "There's no way." Went back to sleep, and I was like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna catch them still on." So I was gonna hang out with you guys for a couple of
Glad
hours.
you were here.
So glad you did.
Yeah.
Good to see your
Thanks.
face,
Good
Jesus.
to see you.
Love you, buddy.
Always gonna hang out with you guys. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good
Everybody
one.
in the audience, thank you for hanging out with us. Always thank you for being such a loyal and kind audience. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. All right, Sam. You have a
Good
good night.
Bye,
Talk to you
Jesus.
later. Bye.
Bye.
Ahead. Talk soon.
Albert's here.
Hi, Albert.
Hi, Albert. And Marcus, I'm not sure where Marcus is. Like Netherlands.
Marcus is in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, it's morning for him, and he's excited that he got to wake up and see us still on. He was just, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's 25 past
Excited.
4 here.
Hey, there's Shannon Davis. That's a new name, kind of.
Hi there.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
So,
He agrees. Magnetic fields rubbing against each other. Right. I agree.
Yep.
I've always been tossed that it also could be tectonic. Well, you know, if they're grabbing, it could be both tectonic plates and our atmosphere rubbing together, or creating a shift between the connective two. I mean, anything. You know, the finger on the glass. That's the harmonic.
Harmonic.
And you know, when they were happening, oh my God, there were several years where they were running in cycles, and everybody was freaking out about it, and I was pretty sure I knew why. And it did happen up here in Missoula, and I went out many times and sat and listened to it.
Morning, Marcus.
In winter, especially that first year, it was like, yeah, I sat outside listening to it and even froze my butt off, but it was so worth it, you know, because you could bear it.
I remember hearing weird noises in South Africa during a storm where there was 3 different colors of light marching across the sky. I think it was around about that time I started talking more with Caroline and Nancy.
We can have that discussion. Do you know that we never ever used to have purple lightning? And people automatically accept it as normal now. Purple lightning started in 2010
Yeah.
and 11 also.
Because this
And that
was
has to do
purple and white and green and Red.
Now, the color of the lightning has to do with how high it comes up from. The different, and you can look that up on Google. It's free, or YouTube. Yeah, the purple lightning comes from way, way, way out in space and above Earth, the outer extremities of our atmosphere. That's where purple lightning comes from, and that all started at the same time as when the trumpet sounds and when the sun started rising in the northeast sky rather than due east, and when the moon stopped doing its normal cycle of crescent, half moon, full moon, no moon, all of that changed, including where the sun dances across the sky overhead in high noon. And these are all of these things, and and the fact that the moon is in the south and then the moon is in the north and then the moon is gone and nobody can find it and all that. All of those are connected signs showing you that this is all real. It's all happening because nothing else could do that. And we're not going to blame a sun sim or HAARP or any of these scientific or Project Bluebeam or they're terraforming the planet and the government wants to kill us all. None of that. All of this is connected to astrological astrophysics, and it's in a reality, and all these realities are pointing to the same thing. So
what happened to Audrey's picture that she did last week or the week before?
You already saw it. We already
Did you
talked
guys?
about it. Yeah.
That painting thing?
Yeah, we talked about
did.
it already.
Did you talk about it earlier?
Yes.
Misa missed that.
Yeah, well, you have to go back and watch the show tomorrow. That way we get another view on Rebecca's count.
I have a question.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were waving at somebody. I'm sorry.
Oh, I put my hand up. Can you clarify something, please?
Sure.
This will be easy for you, but there's a lot of people lately with the moon in different places, okay? They're thinking that the moon is moving, but the moon's not moving. It's us, isn't it?
Right. It's Earth rolling because
It's
the moon
Earth
is in a stationary tidal lock period. We've always, throughout all of human history, have seen the same face of the moon. But if the moon, the paw print, has moved or tipped, it is not the moon that has tipped. It is Earth that has tipped.
Good.
And when the buffering magnetosphere of Nibiru, for example, which is immense, comes and pushes us out of the way, Earth tips. Our axis goes farther deep. Yeah. So our out view of the moon changes, not the moon. Good. Because somebody took our chair that we're sitting in and moved us. It's Earth that's moving, not the moon.
There are videos. Thank you, hon. There are videos out there. When we normally look out, they make the outer atmosphere move. Okay, but I've seen videos that they made the outer atmosphere still, and they showed Earth actually moving.
Right.
On it. And I wish I could find them because I tried to explain that the other day to somebody. They couldn't get it.
Do you remember the Scotty Dogs magnets for kids?
Yes.
Okay, you walk up one Scotty dog to the other, and he would turn around and flip away from you.
Yep.
And that is kind of what's going in a microscopic manner, because we aren't going to shift polarity because we got the entire structure holding it. The atomic compound is holding our planetary placement is held through chemistry and ring structure.
Okay, but the motion is still there.
But when the planets cross each other and they have opposite opposing polarities, we tip, we're pushed, we're manipulated from that electromagnetic field, and an automatic response to north polarity and south polarity being opposites of each other.
All right.
So that's why the moon moves, because our polarity has tipped our axis, because there's a larger magnetic field pushing us.
I've seen something. It's actually a game, like a magnetic game called Magnetic Dominoes. And if you put all the dominoes all out on the table and you moved one, then 3 would stick together, but 1 would shoot off.
Right.
And it kind of reminded me of this kind of thing, talking about the repulsion of the ones that are different
Well, they
to
moved
us.
large stones in Egypt using that same premise in a 440 hertz harmonic, and that's what we talked about earlier. It's called sympathetic harmonic resonance.
Is it 440 or 432?
440, I think.
440.
I could
Isn't
be
that
wrong.
what
I
I
just recently
thought
saw
it
a
was
video on it.
432 because of my studies, and then just a few years ago they changed it to 440 so that the healing frequencies wouldn't work as well. That were
Yeah, I heard of something like
Right,
that
right.
as well, where
Well,
they said
we
that
might be,
something had
well, it's,
changed.
just like they're talking about the genome test is 21andMe, or is it
23.
23andMe? Yeah, and we have, it didn't work in my brain all of a sudden. I said, what am I talking about? Because we actually have 24 chromosomes. Our
Right.
24th chromosome is clipped. That's why they don't talk about that, because the only way that you can have a clipped chromosome is in the lab in a petri dish.
It's genetic, or
Yeah.
not genetic. It's
Slice and
laboratory
dice.
Laboratory alteration of a genome.
altered. That's what I'm
Yeah,
looking
the
for.
telomeres cap. The telomeres cap.
So there are many misnomers throughout our history, including, I mean, I could go on and just completely dive into this rabbit hole, but I don't want to. But there are so many misnomers in our reality. Like a big one is that most humans on this planet think that they're powerless.
Oh no, that's not right. Oh my gosh.
And what we are is so much more powerful. And this is, of course, we have the admiration of the Pleiadian race. They like us. They think they're the ASPCA for humans, so to speak, one of the members of the Federation. And that's why, perhaps that I'm carrying the information I'm carrying is because they wish to further our cause. And this information is coming to us, only a small few of us, because not everyone is going to benefit, because not everybody wants to hear it or is ready to hear it or is advanced enough to hear it. And I'm a true believer in reincarnation, that we reincarnate to a state of knowledge within our own trapped, genome clipped environment, where there are overlords that actually, believe it or not, even control our mortal soul. And I have evidence of that as well from my personal studies in magic. And I don't need to go in great detail unless we're sitting at the campfire one night talking about it. But
Got it.
there is so much more going on than we little unknowing humans who don't believe in ourselves. There's a lot, and everybody has to just reach in and you know things, and you're here for a reason. And I mean here tonight even for a reason. And Jillian said earlier, yeah, but we don't know what we become, and I actually do. I have actually found my job, my role, and that's something my father taught me for life. And I did find who and what I am supposed to be. And I truly believe that. And that is beyond priceless.
Yeah. I think we all. Jillian, we'll take that up later, okay? We'll take that up. Yeah.
Well, she's Jillian over there in Scotland, and she's supposed to be over there in Scotland because in the latter days she will be telling this tale, and she already teaches to children. So we know what she's here for.
Yeah.
And only because we all are becoming experts in this field will we be able to tell a coherent story of direct knowledge rather than rumor, gossip, or supposition. And this is why it's important that we talk about the planet names and their colors and the base clouds and how they are and where they are and how they act and what they used to do and what they do now. And because there is an unbelievable pile of information that we have gathered together in this 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
God, remember back when we started out in 2010 and 11, how little we knew. And yet we knew, but we didn't know that we knew that we didn't know.
No, it was more you knew, and we were still guessing.
Well, I was, I'm sitting here in my yard.
You were a
watching
tough
the damn
teacher.
thing.
You
I
were
watched the
tough.
damn- well, when you watch the damn things go by,
Yes.
You were expecting them for that 30 years, and you've been walking around with duct tape across your mouth for 30 years.
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh God, it was so hard for me to start talking about this." I would
Right.
sit here, and I wouldn't even talk to people on the phone or anything. I'd be typing, and I would break in at full body sweat because I was so afraid to get in trouble for the breaking of the non-disclosure agreement.
I remember
sweated
we had
bullets.
rules. There were certain things we couldn't talk about.
Well, I didn't
But
want
you-
anybody to get in trouble.
Right. Well, we used a lot of metaphors. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I remember back then.
and we
Yeah,
have learned
you were
so
tough.
much since then.
From one
just by
teacher
just by
to
watching.
another.
And then, close scientific suppositions where I remember back in 2013, I really thought we were in deep shit. We were going to get hit by all those asteroids that we can see coming.
Yeah, for a while there, we had a lot of fear, but
Yeah, yeah. And then when it didn't happen,
right.
and then it happened again in 2014 at the 180-day cycle,
Mhm.
and we didn't get wiped out again.
Nope.
And then we started seeing examples of the electrical discharge between the bodies, including
Yeah.
Attu and Yuri discharging on
All
the
the
object
steps.
cluster groups as well. Yeah,
Taking
and we
place.
started, and that's back when they were
Yep.
still way small.
And
then
we
they got bigger and bigger,
documented.
and then we started, and we documented. We saw the purple lightning. We saw the object cluster group had all these
Yep.
objects in there, and they were zapping each other, and then it was zapping Earth, and it was so much tinier back then, and then they got
Oh, it
bigger and bigger
was.
and bigger. And we watched.
I
them, and
remember
we
when I first seen that happen in that mountain pass in South Africa one night, and the other guy who, we won't talk about, he said to me that, how could I see something like that? That's ridiculous. It was just a little camera phone, but you could see the sparks. You could see the sparks, and that made me think about fires and electricity and stuff like that because of the way it was in South Africa. I mean, you guys remember that fire?
Well, you
And
guys had,
how
you guys had a better view of it coming from up underneath you before we did up here in the northern
Yeah.
hemisphere.
And I seen those little spark balls, those little golden spark balls between each other and between two blue bodies, and the tick 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 tick. And I thought, wow, that's like static electricity. You could see the wee sparks in the dark. It's just cool. And then it made sense. I was like, oh my word, this dude is talking truth, man. There's like electricity out there. Wow. And then we got told about the water as well, and there's water
Right.
out there, and that's where water comes from. Wow. Miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're a rock type planet. We're not supposed to be 3/4 covered by water.
Yeah, where did water come from? Remember when you said that, and I thought, yeah, where did water come from?
Now think about that.
Scientists never asked us that. They never told us that in science class, did they? Like, where do you think the water
Okay.
came from? You're like, this
They
lab.
made it cut and dry.
We in the early formations of the early seas of planet Earth, after everything cooled down, because of the heat and cold exchange, you get condensation. So that condensation period, once the Earth started to cool, started naturally drawing condensation out of our atmosphere.
Mhm.
That was creating the first seas that were really salty and the really, really not deep. And then the interaction, now remember, hydrogen is in space, lots and lots and lots of hydrogen. And then inside our little bubble is oxygen. And when you have a close passing planet and it puts this electrical zap between the hydrogen and the oxygen and electrically super highways them together, you get falling rain by very large, copious amounts, as we've seen with falls, where Nepesi gathers up atmosphere and then dumps 4 years worth of rain down in a week, that all that stuff.
Mhm.
And so I truly believe that the formations of the water on our planet have a great deal to do with the passing planet cycle. I really do, including partially the development of our ice ages and all of that. Because if you look, we've only had approximately 14 ice ages in 8 billion years. So, of course, whose science is that? Sometimes I wonder, I gather information from science that may not necessarily be actual, but I do try. So we've had many ice ages. Maybe wait, excuse me, maybe it was 5. Okay, Earth brain. I got a brain moment. So we've had many ice ages. We are at the end of our ice age, and we are warming to our future normal. So, by the way, everybody, tropical planet Earth, it is normally 93 degrees on the entire planet from North to South Pole. We are not supposed to have icy poles for the generic overall percentage time period of Earth's existence through the Pleistocene and the Triassic and the Jurassic and all of this. If you average them all together, Earth is quite warm and usually tropical. So we have to view the fact that our ice age ended 12,000 years ago. The Great Flood was probably part of that ending of the ice age, where there was a stored amount of water in some northern glacier that dumped out all across most of the Earth. A massive tsunami from a lake, which is why we started talking about Montana and Lake Missoula and the Scablands. We started talking about that. But the Great Flood probably came from a melt-off of an ice age reservoir scenario in the northern hemisphere, or most likely, because remember, the entire Earth was not covered by ice.
That's right.
Only the poles were covered by ice during the ice age. The middle of the Earth, people were living there. There was civilization going on, and it has been eradicated and eroded by the fact that it was so long ago that there is not only that, because of the rising water, the rising water since the change of the ice age has been over 250 feet. So you go out to do a 250-foot level at any ocean, and you can find civilization that we have lost. It's just underwater. And most archaeology is done on land and not underwater.
Right.
So there's so much that we're missing, and including the fall of Atlantis and everything. Atlantis was probably, we believe, that it was in the eye of the Sahara, and when the Sahara dried out and all those rivers dried up, Atlantis went with it. Those people had to leave. They had to do climate migration, and that could have come in the last cycle or the cycle before, 8,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago. Generic terms, middle of the road, easy to figure.
Right.
Rather than 3,654. If we go 4,000, it's just an easier number.
Right.
But, so the breakup in the Bronze Age, and it's in history everywhere. And yet, you won't get two archaeologists that even agree on that date. And the breakup of the Bronze Age was the passing of the last passing of the planets. It has to be. It's all in the very similar time period.
Right.
And, people have completely blown out of their brains the fact that in 500 BC, we had many golden ages of many civilizations. They lived differently than us, but we don't even know how great their houses were or their buildings.
Right.
Athens was built in, the great thing in Athens. What do they call that?
The Parthenon?
Parthenon. Yeah, that was built in 500 BC.
Right.
And
they had the technology,
right.
But today
we can't even build that.
No, the educational systems want them to be dumb and us to be smarter than they were. It's just the opposite. Yeah, we could not.
There were many great men,
recreate
Socrates and all of that were 500 BC. There was a whole.
Right.
Let's talk about the Temple at Delphi. We were interacting with the Magi.
Right.
Magi was another race.
Aliens.
Yeah, and they're still here. They're within the earth. They live underground. Well, they never. Yeah, they some did, some didn't. But there's an entire. There are other races here, and they have been. They always have been. They're flying around with their high technology. And don't even get me started about Agartha.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. I was thinking it.
Yeah, I believe in Agartha, but oh boy,
so do I.
It's so controversial. I don't really publicly want to talk about it.
You take bits and pieces from it. You
but
have to read
if
between
Agartha
the lines.
didn't have an ice age, imagine where their technology level was.
I know.
Imagine they didn't have the outer world chaotic. I imagine they have underground earthquakes and floods, and God only knows. Maybe
Well, it has to affect them
or whatever.
We shake, they shake.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. I can't speculate on it, although I do pretty much believe it's possible. And then, of course, we can go all the way to the people who are talking about a firmament. What if we were a Dyson sphere, a metal orb that was placed here to Earth, and we started out as a placed stone planet? What if we are a created solar system to make factory planet Earth? And then, and then over time, all the dust and debris over 8 billion
Cover
years
this
settled
and
and it
build
follow
up.
inside. And,
Well, they can they can terraform, create a planet. Just like
what if the inside of the Earth is a Dyson sphere? I mean, that of course is crazy speculation, scientific shit.
It's
By the way,
speculation, but
if you don't know what a Dyson sphere is, you can look it up in Star Trek. You can also look it up on Google. It's free. And go to YouTube, type in Dyson, Dyson, sphere. There are many-sized Dyson spheres, some that could actually encompass an entire solar system. It's a concept. It's not a reality, but it's possible, depending on your technological level. And there are people out there that say, well, we have seen evidence of sort of Dyson sphere-like things, and of course that's those people who are conspiracy theorists and have close access.
It's one of those things that, is it possible? Is it probable?
Yeah, and there's so much more going on. I mean, there are factions parking outside watching little old us.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, we're the greatest game in town right now. It's like, welcome to the circus. Look at the monkeys in the cage. We are the monkeys in the cage, by the way. And there's so much, there's so much to what we could be. It's scary.
Right. I want to officially announce something.
Oh, here we go.
No, it's a good one. It's a good thing. You'll enjoy this. You love your Star Trek.
Yes.
Okay. Through the years, I know my husband and I have seen Star Trek movies, but it was sporadic. But I have made a list. I know you can't see that one there, but it's a list of all the Star Trek movies in the order of the story. And I've got
Star Trek or the newer one?
All old, from back in the beginning.
Okay, 3 seasons.
Back in 1977.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm doing the whole thing. I'm not being left out in left field when you guys are talking Star Trek, and I have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, so you're doing some binge watching, I hope?
I am. I'm doing 1 2.5 hour movie every night because I'm going to catch up.
Well, don't forget Deep Space Nine.
Or Enterprise.
I think I did. I'm writing a note, but I think Deep Space Nine sounds familiar.
It's a series.
Yeah. And what was the other one, Jillian?
Enterprise. That one that's got Bakula in it, but he was
I have that series. I liked it very much.
Well,
that's where I first heard that Russell Watson song.
Okay, but I'm doing
that's a series that predates the original.
Yep. I'm doing Star Trek and I'm doing Star Wars, both of them.
There you go.
Whoa.
I'm not being left out.
And don't forget Dune.
Oh, I did that one already 2 times. I love Dune.
All right.
The old one.
That's why I brought out my fake persona on Facebook, and I shouldn't be publicly admitting that.
Battlestar Galactica was also.
Oh, that was good too.
Yeah, it was a little cheesy. Come on, there was so much. Lauren Green, come on.
Yeah, the little one. Yeah, the first one, the little one. I was 10 when that one came out.
Yeah, that was a little too sappy for me. It was cool, but those helmets.
It was fine.
Their helmets were horrible.
There's nothing wrong with a little sap.
Egyptian helmets. Come on, guys. It just didn't work. The head of Horus or Ra, and it's like, no.
It was for fun.
But they were trying to buck. They were trying to buck Star Wars and come up with a better helmet than. Yeah. I'm sorry, you cannot come up with a better helmet than the Stormtrooper. Those are awesome.
No, they're
the
classic.
Vader helmet and all of that.
They're classic.
And then, of course, what's his? God, I can never think of this guy's name. The one that is the new Darth's grandson or something like that. Yeah. Anyway. And I can't pull his name out of that. I keep getting the wrong name in my.
It's not
my head.
Ahsoka, is it?
No, that's she's a different race.
Oh.
No, the son
What
of
you mean?
Leia and Han Solo, and he becomes the new dark guy in the end of the series of Star Wars. And I
It wasn't Ani.
No,
No, it was Rhea and that other guy. What's his name?
I remember Rhea, but I don't remember.
I can never.
I don't know. I gotta have to watch it. So
I can never come up with that guy. He was a good bad guy, but he's forgettable, and I can never remember his name. Even when I've even got his costume put away, and I can never pull his name out of my head.
Oh,
It's amazing.
great. Oh. See, without watching them, I don't know.
Right, it's the end of the series.
The end of the series. That'd be in the 20.
Kylo. Is it, you mean Kylo Ren?
Kylo Ren. Yes, thank you. Kylo Ren.
Yay, Jillian. 1 point.
Yeah. You get a good.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
have gotten
Kylo
it.
Ren. I could never pull his name out of the
I
air.
would not have got. Thanks for the tea, hun.
He is the son of Han Solo and Leia. And he goes bad because Luke is teaching him at the end of the series. Oh, I shouldn't tell you all this, should I?
Oh, you know,
Spoiler alert.
don't you mean Anakin Skywalker then?
No,
Ani.
Anakin becomes Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah, Ani. They call him.
So
Right.
Kylo Ren's the other guy. Yeah. No, sorry, man.
And
No,
Anakin
Solo.
is born from the with no
I was
father,
right the first time.
and he's a virgin birth from the midichlorians.
Right. His mother never named the father, but they said he was like a Sith Lord or something like that.
Kind of like they did in Avatar, because they didn't tell you where the girl Kiri comes from, but she's the one that speaks to the planet and can
Kylo-
tell.
Audrey
The
said
one.
Kyloran, so I don't know what
It's sort of
Kyloran
just
is.
like Paul Atreides in Dune.
I'm gonna
You're the
find
one.
out,
You're the one.
Audrey.
You're the born one to be special, and you're number one, and you're going to change the entire destiny of your planet and your people. And that's what we're all here doing today. We are changing the destiny of our planet and our people.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
We are.
And you know, the only
Only
truth
give them
is-
the eyes
Okay.
to see and the ears to hear.
Well, we're not taking science's word for it. We're taking and we're communicating with members, amateur members around the planet, to get them to post their material in a clearinghouse manner that we can correlate the information and then reshare it back to them with a semblance of order and scientific discovery.
What are you doing?
There's water. It must be dry in the house. You probably need more moisture. Kitties
No,
want to
I-
drink. Second
no,
time
I
that cat
think
went up
he
to the
just
sink.
Got fat again, or
Or he got
fed
mice.
again.
There's a mouse in the back of the sink.
Grace did that
Better
already
not
today.
be. Better not
Yeah,
be.
well, you know, in fall they move in.
No, not with this many cats.
I got another bag full of flour that had all kinds of bugs in it, and they sort of attacked
Oh,
my cupboard.
Put
It's
it in
like,
plastic bags
"No!"
before you put it in,
I always do.
and you still.
But I found little black things crawling around outside the plastic bag, and it came
Oh,
from
darling.
I
Oh.
keep
I bet
buying
you-
flour.
Probably it was bought that way.
Yeah,
from the
right. I
store.
keep
Yeah, little
buying
eggies
flour,
inside it.
and I bring it
Mm-mm,
home,
not
and then it starts to grow. It's like,
Right.
no, you know. And I keep
Obviously, the silo, the grain silo, or wherever the thing was kept.
I'll get off the nuclear radiation.
buggies,
pesticides.
eggs.
No way they can
Eggies.
keep that out, Jillian. It's just one of those things.
I just have to get a finer filter
thanks,
screen and bring the
Marcus.
little bastards out.
I
Of
don't
course,
think-
I don't like to eat even after I've taken them out. I don't want to eat that flour.
Moji. Marcus wants to say hi.
Anyway,
Hold on 1 second.
look at the clock again. We managed to babble another hour away.
8 hours. Oh my word.
Yeah, I reckon that's my.
Oh boy. I feel it. I don't know about you all. I feel it.
Yeah, the
feel
back of my
tired.
throat's a little bit sore. I could go.
Yeah, I
"Go
feel it.
on," you know.
Like I've been
Look
working.
at that
all day.
snuggle fluff.
Me and my buddy.
sweet.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
knew- I
tired,
knew that-
Rebecca? You look
I
tired.
am. I
Yeah.
did not sleep hardly at all last night.
I didn't very well.
hardly
either.
at all. I couldn't go to sleep.
See, you should have
So-
called me.
Not been my problem for the last knows how long.
It's
Like,
been going on like
and
this
there's
for a couple
somebody's-
weeks.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully tonight I'll just crash and be,
Yeah, not that I
Well
go to the
rested
store and
tomorrow.
buy anything, but they have these things called gummies.
Yes,
I
they
work
do.
for a ticket of them. I don't buy any gummies.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
You know, we have them all over
I'm
Montana now,
familiar.
but I mean, no money to go to that anyway.
I saw that when I was in Montana.
Yeah, they made it legal here, but there's, no budget for it.
Thanks, Sam Ricolette.
Yeah, and
We had another
I,
hour
I,
in.
was teasing her. I said, "Yeah, you
Wow.
can have some brandy or some gummies."
It's Ricolette.
Go to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really. That's
Very
so nice.
Very,
He
very
appreciates
appreciated.
us going on and on and on.
Yeah,
We're letting out all our secrets here.
yeah, and and then
Right.
I'm gonna walk in the other room and be a zombie for the next hour trying to wind down.
Yeah.
And
Ding, 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 ding,
Star
ding.
Wars, yeah.
Well, your Coke's not going to help.
No, actually, I'm on my third one,
Yes.
and I'll be uncomfortable. Yeah,
Audrey
I've got some
knows
left.
exactly what time it is everywhere. It's 11:57 p.m. in Oklahoma.
Are you sure it's not 10:57?
No, it can't be 11. That's
I
what
mean,
it is.
10. See what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah, she's tired.
10:57.
Yeah, you're
'cause
1
we-
hour behind me. It's 11:57 for me.
And
My
it's
brain
9
says one thing, my mouth says another.
It's 9:58
Connected.
here, so yeah,
Yep.
you're an hour different from me. So yeah, I
I'm
started
usually
at
good,
2:00 when you
Funny.
started at 3, and I'm glad we did move that hour because it really made it possible for me to go to the store, get my other stuff done, come back, get ready
Yep.
for the show, and then be on time for the show.
Good.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I wasn't.
Sleep.
Well, I'm so glad we're not doing 2 shows a week anymore. Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
Yeah, this worked out nice.
this is
It did.
better. I like seeing everybody all the time, but there was no time for anything else.
Yeah, it was exactly right. There was no time for anything else, and we were
And it
doing
was
so-
harder collecting all the pictures.
Yes.
Right. We do need a kind of a week to collect a week's worth of pictures.
Yeah.
Definitely. Of course, if we have less info, we'd have shorter
Sabrina.
shows.
Thank you.
Night, Sabrina.
Yeah, good night, Sabrina.
So we have
Sending
to now
love.
eat up 3.5 minutes.
Where's Sabrina? Whereabouts does she?
Hey Rebecca, would you post the place where people can send donations?
Uh-huh.
Good idea.
One more time,
Second.
everybody.
Time to go to
Yeah.
bed. Yep,
If
yep.
you don't
You're
mail the
up
Christmas
somewhere.
early for the
I
kids,
think.
they won't get the money before.
Very
Good
well.
night.
So I won't be able.
Yep,
to pay
and
them better.
December 1st for a lot of us is already here.
Yippee dee.
Right,
so
right.
that,
We're gonna be December 1. Yeah.
She's in
So,
Canada,
um,
Alberta,
A
Canada.
little something, cash or carry, personal checks even work, even for $5 or $10 or whatever you can spare. I have a bank. I will deposit it in the bank for the kids. P.O. Box 625, Lolo, Montana, 59847. I have to stress it because we're running out of time,
Right.
and I don't know if we don't know if the hats or T-shirts are going to work this year. They didn't the
I
last
heard
time.
today was the last day orders can be accepted.
Yeah, I hope they made it. I have not talked to Deb, so I don't know. But that was
Yeah.
always trying to get a little bit extra, and so the kids got the donation, and so and that's how that works. They make it a donation thing, and I didn't raise that. Deb did. Thank you very much for Deb, and she's from Montana Skywatcher too. But that's been the opportunity that we got a better Christmas for the kids, but. Last year, literally, we didn't finally get the last of it until somewhere time in January. So, so if you can mail early, please, even a card or letter or whatever, and a small personal check or money order, or if you really want to get crazy, go and get a $10 gift card for PlayStation Store. The girls will love it. So, and that's my bid. And I had to eat up a minute and a half there, and mail Rebecca a Cash App or a Venmo or a PayPal at these addresses as well. She has to pay bills. She is now a single income as well.
Yes,
And
she is.
we both know
She
how hard
needs
that is for
funding.
life on a single income.
Rough.
And if it's
Right,
not
Colleen?
for Rebecca, it's for the kiddies.
I know.
They
It's
need
all
help
for the
too.
kitties.
They
I
really
know,
need
my
help too.
babies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be amazed how fast
Oh,
you can
Lori.
thank you, Lori. Thank you.
That's sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Really.
Thank you.
There's,
Oh, that gave me
Yeah,
goosebumps. I gotta know who this girl is
I
here.
know. That's
I
a
got
new name.
goosebumps.
Even. I'm like,
Yeah,
Lori.
no,
Oh
that's
my
fine.
God,
Thank you
all
for being
over.
here.
Wow.
We do work really hard at trying to share facts and truth and proven information.
That
We are not
face.
guessing. We're not creating this. It's creating itself. And we're a group of people that just absolutely love this because we've all seen the planets. And
We've
once
grown
you see them, it's
together.
insane. It's like, oh my God, this is real. It's really happening. It's really important for people to know this. Can you imagine if this goes by and the mass general doesn't even know it occurred and they're all, well, Nibiru's on its way and it's red,
Yeah.
It's behind the
Let me at
sun.
him, Sam. Let me at him.
Oh, I know. I mean, I can't even imagine that this would get by past human history where they're not aware that it's here
Right.
now.
You want
And
to
it's
know
been
the
here for a
common
decade.
story?
Where have you
Common
been?
story about Nibiru, about you, Sam, is that we all saw something that we didn't know what it was. And we found you. And that's the story. And our
That-
chapters are growing and
That
growing.
is accurate. You are correct. And I
Yeah.
appreciate it in the simplicity in which you framed it.
Goosebumps again.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
and
Yeah.
I've known about their existence. I knew that we
Mhm.
had to have multiple planets. I knew we had to have another star. I didn't have the
You-
names of them until years later.
Yeah.
And then when I found other information that matched that information, I was like, oh boy, this is really happening.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, I was filming stuff in space that you couldn't see with your bare eye, but the camera picked it up. And then in late 2009, all of a sudden I see a planet go by. Oh shit, they're here. Because I knew they were coming all the way back from the 70s. And oh crap, they're here. And it was so big, it wasn't a normal our planet. Because I know that our planets don't get that big. So I knew it was, it's time, it's here, it's now. And the rest is history. And we've gathered all this information for you guys out there. And we want to share it, which is why with my real face, my real name, why I didn't do a pay-per-view only, where you only get to be a member if you pay $5.99 a month or something stupid like that. And I was trying to do it for free and be as honest and open
Right.
with everyone as I possibly can. And there is no ulterior motive other than science.
No.
Because
You
we
need to
all
get
have a
this
right. And
message out.
I knew that in 1980. We all have a right to know this information, and it's real.
The donations are much needed because it's
Yep.
very costly for the computers, the equipment that you use, the programs used to put this show on. The
Yes.
donations are very much needed. So it's like, open the floodgates of your heart, please.
Yeah,
because it's
No,
very
it
much
is the Christmas
appreciated.
season. It's time for giving, folks, and we need it.
Yeah.
I hate,
Yep.
I was talking to Christopher. I hate to beg, but
Yeah.
God,
there
we
it
need
is.
it. We do. We really do need it.
And some of those prices went up already.
Oh my God! Well, wait till you see what
Yes.
avocados are about
Yeah,
to cost. I mean,
that's actually needs updated because some of those prices have changed.
Yeah.
yeah,
StreamYard was 20 and it went, no, it was 25. And it
More,
went to 44.99.
almost double, almost.
It really
Yeah.
did. That's a massive jump.
And I
Like,
think you
wow.
have one or two now that aren't on that list.
Yeah, and I couldn't personally afford
Possibly,
what you're saying
so,
myself. I
yeah,
could never do
I
that.
know.
There's a
It's-
couple.
Yep.
The little ones.
It's,
yeah. I did go in and try to undo, some of them to bring it down.
But it's a good general idea, but
So, yeah. Anyway, that's what I spend every month on stuff. Yeah.
so Sam, I'll send mine out to you directly. You better save me a gold card. You
Oh,
better-
well, you mail me a letter, you get one back.
and a
yeah,
gold
I
card.
have about
Card.
I have
around
to have
30
that
some
gold
cards
card.
left.
You still got some gold cards there, Sam.
Yeah, I still have about an inch and a half if I were to pinch them.
Mm,
So there's about 30, 35 cards around there, and I've
one
been
has
out and I hand out a couple of to folks, when I talk to them in public, and I gave one to Jason the other day at the truck stop, and I actually signed it for him. I did a
Oh,
joke.
oh,
And
he
it's like,
got
here you go,
one.
Jason. Let me sign this for you. Not that I'm
Wonderful.
going to be world famous anywhere soon, but it's kind of the joke behind that.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
we'll work on getting you some more.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's coming. I do plan to get, because we have to put the show on a card.
Yep.
And we're available on TikTok and YouTube and all of that now, and that has to be on the card, and it wasn't, and it isn't.
Well, you work on the design and get all that information on there, and we'll work on getting them. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So then
Yeah,
maybe
we're-
we'll hang it up
we're-
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. You betcha. I get to go play
Okay,
Star Wars
guys.
now.
You get to go
Wow.
play Star Wars, and I'm going to go watch a Star Wars
8-hour
movie.
show.
All right.
I'm gonna go
And,
watch the inside of my eyeballs.
So it's the Walton family. Good nights. Good night,
Make
members.
up my own
Good
movie.
night, visitors, guests. Thank you
Yeah.
for being
Remember,
with us.
Remember,
Good night,
no.
Rebecca.
Great show.
Okay,
Good night,
remember, guys.
Carolyn.
Remember,
Good night,
no
family.
hamsters were injured in the making of
Never.
that video.
No.
We're good.
We really have to make a hamster card. It's really like a trademark.
We'll work on it.
Come on, Rebecca. Can you create as an
I can do
AI
that.
hamster card?
I can do that. We'll work on that.
I think
Surprise
that
us.
would be funny.
But I mean, gee, just don't waste your time like signing about.
You need that to snap up on the screen when something comes up that you can snap the
Oh, like a
Right.
blooper.
yeah.
Bah, bah, bah.
Yeah, where we're
Ah,
we're physically harming and
make a
abusing
note. Need a
small
hamster.
slave
Yep, I
hamsters.
need hamster. Yep. Good night,
Troll
Jillian.
hamster. Do, do, do.
All right,
Sorry,
everybody.
Maria. We didn't get.
Oh, good night,
I
Maria.
think
Good night,
we've officially hit the
Samuel.
film
Yeah.
zone.
We'll do Maria's pictures next show. She has a small
First
slideshow.
thing.
Okay,
So-
hopefully we'll
Aw.
get that.
First
Get to
thing.
her. Yeah.
All right.
And Tara, good
Maria.
night. S.
Good night, Tara. And it's Recollect.
Good night,
Night,
Tara.
everyone.
Yes.
Let's-
Perfect.
Good night, everybody.
Uh,
Love
Yes,
and blessings.
Carolyn.
Love
We'll
and
be
blessings.
back next week for show
Sabrina,
91.
Audrey,
Yes.
Niver,
91.
Paul, Kate, Joe, Marcus, Andrew. Yeah, okay. Yeah, anyway.
Uh-huh.
Good night. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Night, night,
Bye,
family.
everybody.
Night,
Night,
night.
everybody.
Button.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Hmm.